What's going on, Internet? The Black Okai here, aka TBH. And to be honest, I'd like to welcome you guys back to the Game Illuminati podcast. We are the Enlightened Gamers, and you're now tuned in to episode 129. If you're watching the video version of the show at youtube.com/GI Updates, know the show is available on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, Amazon, and all other major podcast platforms. Also, be sure to rate the show 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. We need your 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify to help us push up the algorithm and bring in new potential listeners, so we can help grow in that goddamn algorithm. Now allow me to introduce you to my co-host. The first of which, his game was recently showcased to over 100,000 concurrent viewers and many more with all the VODs out there. It's probably like a gazillion because, you know, that's concurrent. That's not how many people totally watch. He's everyone's least favorite game developer and the Game Pass Missionary. Gaming Ethos, say what up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? Keep going. You're fine. My brain it's fried. I don't even know what you just said.
We're all tired. You're not the Game Pass Missionary?
No, I'm a bishop of the Church of Game Pass.
I hope you aren't thinking of like the sex position.
No. Oh my god. Go, bro.
I was like, bro, I hope he knows what a missionary is. Anyways.
Bishop, not bishop.
He's not the missionary. He's the bishop.
You're not fucking the Game Pass. You're just spreading the good word.
Spreading it like, you know.
Oh, shit. My second co-host, he spent Father's Day with another GI father, Siggy, where they discuss very adult things like investments and taxes. Then they shot their guns from Siggy's arsenal of weapons, and they sipped a little bit of whiskey. UTX Father's Day, the Don. Say what up to the people.
What's good? To all the fathers out there, salute to y'all. I ain't seen my boy Siggy in like 3 years, ever since the wedding, man. I miss y'all.
You've been married for 3 years?
Yeah, time has passed. I got married in 2019, bro. 2019, bro. 2022.
That shit blew my mind, bro. I swore that was like a year ago. That shit blows my mind.
Oh, nigga, we been in the house, bro. We fucked us up.
Yo, that cabin fever is real, man.
Man. We gotta get back to GI trips for real.
And the crazy part is so much has changed in the last 3 years. That's crazy. That is fucking crazy.
I'm so alone.
Yeah, shout out to COVID. So a couple of release dates delays. God of War, nobody really knows what's going on with that. First, there were like several articles from major publications saying that it was going to be delayed, and then one of the heads of Sony Santa Monica came out and it was like, nah, that's not true. But there hasn't been any type of actual confirmation if it's coming out this year or next year. Nobody really knows what's going on. Does anybody have any hot takes? Do y'all care about the God of War drama and its release date?
Go ahead, JG.
Okay. So Cory Barlog came back to Twitter. So that was pretty major, but this nigga been trolling, bro. He been
wait. Who's Cory Barlog, and why should people care? Just so for clarification,
Cory Barlog makes God of War.
Okay,
he's like one of the lead producers for
gotcha.
Yes, he is the lead.
The second game and the new one.
He's the head honcho for all the major God of War that came out now. Yeah, so all the later ones. So he came back to Twitter, so that was majors, and people were like, "Oh shit! Like, is he going to reveal something?" Nah, he just been trolling. So we still don't know. But like, this literally tells us nothing, and it's actually more frustrating that he came back and started doing this stuff, because I'm like, can we just get a date, please? I'm still on the side of this shit ain't coming out this year, but people still have hope because he came back to Twitter.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming out this year for the simple fact we are officially now in summer, so like, this was the best time to announce that it's coming out this year with the Summer Gamesfest and all the other presentations, like the Xbox one that happened. That would have been like the best promo. I don't think it's coming out this year. I think he's just entertaining because he's bored. He's got a little extra time on his hands since it's probably going to be delayed. So he's just he's just on the internet talking, basically. And then just this morning, during this recording, today we're recording June 22nd, 2022. A new game was announced by Sega called Hyenas. According to the Steam page, it is a new multiplayer sci-fi first-person shooter. You team up with your pack to steal priceless pop culture loot from the Mars billionaires and rival crews. In the About section, it says, Earth is gone. The rich have colonized Mars, and the rest of humanity is living their worst life in Taint, a giant orbiting slum. Wow, damn, a space ghetto. While humanity is trying to survive, the Mars billionaires are more worried about fulfilling their nostalgic dreams, plunder ships, massive retail spacecrafts dedicated to selling salvage pop culture artifacts from Earth. They're rich and the poor people. We get it. So yeah, that's kind of like the gist of it. You know, space drama shooter. Did you guys get a chance to look at this trailer, like the announcement trailer?
I am now.
I'm actually looking at it as we speak.
I think what surprised me about this announcement is like they talking about all the space. I was like, I didn't know space was this damn colorful.
It's like Watch Dogs 2 in space. You get what I mean? Like that colorful look to it.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs 2.
It looks like they're going after the live service crowd, so the Apex, Fortnite, you know, Warzone type of crowd with a multiplayer shooter. And it has like a back storyline according to the Steam. So I mean, they're giving you little bits of tidbits, sort of like Apex. And the hyenas are different like classes and characters according to the actual Steam page. I'm just curious to see if they do anything with the actual multiplayer format that's original and unique that'll make it stand out. I like the name hyenas. That's a pretty cool name that stands out, and I like the logo, but it's not a lot from the trailer you can take other than it's like really comfortable and there's guns, but we need to see some actual gameplay. They haven't shown it, but 2023 it's coming. So
yeah, that's what I need to see. And I was just thinking about it. I was like, damn, because this is an FPS, and I can't think of the last FPS that I like truly enjoyed. And we thought that Battlefield was going to be it, but no.
I've seen a little bit of sentiment online shift about Battlefield. Some people are I'm seeing on my timeline liking the new content. I think Ethos is one of them.
Yes.
So you do like it?
I didn't tweet it, but yeah, no, I actually put like about 20 hours into the season 1. The map is probably the best map they've ever put in Battlefield 2042. It's actually probably one of the best Battlefield maps I've ever played. It's really well done. And the new operator, or whatever they call them, specialist, whatever, they're cool. I mean, they have like a TV missile rocket launcher, so it helps take care of like tanks and stuff like that and flying vehicles. The game mode's pretty much still the same, but like overall, like the game's solid. Like they fixed a lot of like any of the major bugs the game had and issues. It seems like it's all fixed. The UI feels much better. Overall, the game just feels solid right now. They just need to add more content to the game. But
okay, so it wasn't you. I saw it. It must have been I talked to you about it, but I definitely seen a couple people on the timeline tweet about it.
You're asking about like you need something to play. You're like, we need a shooter to play, and I was like, have you tried Battlefield, because the new update dropped, and you know, yeah, it's been pretty good.
So this is typical EA here. Like the game starts off bad, and then slowly but surely it gets better. Like after a year.
This is like, you know, same thing that happened with Battlefield 5, same thing that happened with Battlefield 4. You know, starts off being a mess, and then eventually it starts getting better, and then everybody says, you know, it wasn't actually that bad. Now that I think about it, like 3 years later. So.
I think the difference is this is probably the worst that it's ever launched. Because like I remember there was a couple times like I had a lot of crashes with Battlefield 4. People forgot that's probably the closest we've seen.
Terrible.
It was pretty terrible, but it was still playable if you really wanted to thug it out. Like 2042 was it was a buggy mess for a lot of people. I think this was the worst launch, so I think that's why it caught that much more flack. But like it'd be interesting to see in the coming years as they continue to update it. Will the narrative change like the other games, or will the hate be sustained?
Yeah, their new GM said that they were dedicated to the game. People were putting whispers out that like apparently that DICE had abandoned it, and that a skeleton crew was working on the game, and that they were going to let it die quietly and work on a next Battlefield game. But they had a new general manager after I guess the old guy got fired because of how bad Battlefield came out. So he got kicked, and then a new GM, I forgot her name, she did an interview, and she was like, no, she's like, we owe the players to make sure that this game, like when we're done with it, like it's worthy of the Battlefield title. So they're gonna stick with it for the next 3 years. They said they're gonna make Battlefield 2042 like worthy of like a successor of Battlefield 4. So
they have to. I mean, you literally had all the Battlefields in here. Like you can't just abandon something like that. Like people either want a whole bunch of content from the previous games, or you actually give us more content for 2042.
Yeah,
that's all you have to really do.
What's the name? It's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out, but we need time for that to see if they're actually gonna fix it. So let's get into these leading conversations before we do the news side of things. So opening conversation, I wanted to talk a little bit about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. It was recently released on what platforms is it on? I know it's on Xbox and PC. Is it on PlayStation?
It's on the Xbox Game Pass.
I didn't ask
It is on the Game Pass.
So it's a new side scroller beat 'em up. Yeah, 6-player co-op. You can play as the 4 turtles as well as Master Splinter, April, and Casey Jones. It's on Game Pass.
It's on everything.
Yeah, it's on Switch, PlayStation. So yeah, it's literally on everything. Been getting a lot of praise. A lot of people are loving it. What also makes it I learned from Gerard, apparently this is the longest side-scrolling Turtles game ever. Apparently he was telling me Turtles in Time, the classic one from the Chuck E. Cheese days, that game was like 20 minutes. I was like, God damn. I was like, was I that bad at video games as a kid? Jesus. Nope. Or was it that hard?
It was before microtransactions. They would purposely you probably remember, like, it was hard, right? Like, you die a lot. It was like they tuned the game to make it more difficult, so you'd spend more quarters in order for you to beat it. That's why it felt like it was a longer game, but it actually wasn't. A lot of arcade games you could beat, if you own the game, you could actually beat them in like less than like 3 hours.
Yeah. So this one, it took me like 3 hours to beat. It's not long to beat, but it's good for what it is, because there's a decent amount of replayability. There's a leveling system, and when you level your characters up, obviously they get a little bit stronger, as well as there's like side quests on the map and stuff like that. This is a game that was designed to be replayed. It's not just one playthrough. And then they also have challenges inside of the game, like don't get hit. I mean, there's like 5 challenges, I think, per level, so like that'll unlock various things if you do that. So there's extra content there if you want it. It's not a game that was designed to be super long. It's something that you're supposed to play over and over with friends. I know you're a big Turtles fan, Jay. How are you feeling about Shredder's Revenge?
No, this game is great. Like, my nostalgia just hit totally when I started playing it, and it was the same thing when I played Streets of Rage as well, which also Dotemu, they had a hand in that too. So it looks like they're pretty much going on a trend to like bring back the side-scrolling beat 'em ups, and these were some of my favorite types of video games back in the day. TMNT, Simpsons, X-Men, like all of those games. Like I absolutely love those games. So like coming back to this game and it just being something that, you know, you can have freaking 6-player co-op, like that's major. It's usually always 4 players, but they said 6 players on this one. So that's cool. I like the fact that, you know, they have you know, combos and different things you can do. It's not just, you know, press one button a bunch of times and you can throw and jump and stuff, but like they actually have, like, you know, different things you can do. You have your super moves. Like, they've added things that, you know, added to the fun of these type of games, and not just make it, you know, just a standard you know, side-scrolling beat 'em up that we used to play back in the day. And I didn't even noticed that this game was, you know, longer than the rest of the TMNT games that came there. So that's pretty cool. Like, I love what Dotemu is doing with these type of games, bringing back these games. It's just like I just can turn my brain off and just play. Like, I don't have to try hard and get past this game. Like, it does have its moments where it's a little bit difficult, but like overall, just playing with my friend, like, this game is amazing. Like, so anybody, especially if you're on Game Pass, just try it out. Like, it's not anything that's gonna, you know, be a long time and have you sitting there for 20+ hours. Like, I love little games like this that you can just play like in between all the longer games. So it's dope. Like, 10 out of 10 for me.
Listen, I forgot to mention it. Another plus is the soundtrack in this game is fire. Every level has really good original music, and then at the end of the game, when you actually fight the final boss, there's an original track that plays from Ghostface Killer. That shit was fucking fire, and it got me hyped to you know, kick some ass. And the online is really smooth in this too. Just the fact that it even has online, I have to praise, because what was it, Battletoads? I remember I was excited about that, and then found out it was only local co-op. I turned that shit right off. But Ethos, how you feeling about the game?
I haven't played it, but I have watched you guys streaming.
What? Yeah, the Game Pass Missionary has not played the biggest game on Game Pass.
I'm a bishop. Don't disrespect.
Yes, you be fucking the Game Pass.
I am a bishop, okay, sir.
You know, somebody's gonna Photoshop you fucking humping the Game Pass gift card.
Don't do that. Oh my god. Don't listen to this,
the Game Pass Missionary. So when you gonna play it then, Ethos?
I think I might have missed the window, because you guys, I felt like I had to play it with a bunch of friends, and you guys are.
I'd play it again if somebody wants to play
bro.
it.
Yeah, we can absolutely play it again.
Because I had said in the group chat, I was like, this looks like a game we should probably play on hard. And then we got on it, and I beat it in one sitting. It took us 3 hours. I was like, yeah, we should have played this on hard for like shits and giggles. So I was like, I would definitely play it again. Plus, you can level your characters up. There's a combo system. You unlock new items. I was like, yeah, if somebody was like, yo, y'all playing? I would get on if I had the time.
Okay. I'll get it. Download on my Game Pass.
Which, by the way, this is my first time using the Game Pass Xbox app on my PC. I've been running my Game Pass off of my Xbox mostly at work. I use it. And I gotta say, the app works really smoothly. I just wanted to give like a praise. I had no problems running TMNT, didn't stutter or nothing like that. The interface and the UI on the Game Pass is smooth as well. Better than Origin. I think Steam and Epic Game Store are top 2 still, but it's coming in as strong number 3 for the Xbox Game Pass and the Xbox apps on PC. Definitely better than Uplay and what's that other, and Battle.net. That shit stained too. So yeah, shout out to the Xbox app, just working. Although I'm tired of all these clients on my PC. But if you don't have Game Pass, I believe the game is, I believe it's $20, but let's see. But let's go to the Steam page. And yeah, it's $20 on Steam if you do not have Game Pass. So if you just want to own the game, go for it. It's $22 right now. Very positive reviews, over 4,000. People are loving it. Everybody's got their own play style, so check
Another
out.
dub for the Xbox Game Pass.
And keep in mind, it's available on every platform. It's not just on the Game Pass.
Yeah, but you can't get it for free unless you got the Xbox Game Pass.
Nah, I can't. You ain't gonna fuck with me for the free. You need a wristband. You see that video? That dude cracks me the fuck up. You got a wristband? Next thing, the next major game that was announced during the OTK showcase. If you guys are not familiar with that, it's a new gaming showcase where they show off indie games. It's from Asmongold. He put on this whole production and he live streamed it from his Twitch channel. They revealed a really big game called Katana Zero. Do you know anything about that, Ethos?
No, I don't. Tell me about the Katana Zero. I'm not aware.
Katana Zero is a third-person multiplayer.
Oh man, that's a good meme.
So apparently,
I think the publicity though.
Yeah. So Ethos actually got his game shown off, Samurai Zero, but he called it Katana Zero, right?
Yeah, well, Donkey did.
Well, Donkey did, yeah.
Donkey did, yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it was a game. Yeah, it was Donkey. Yeah, Donkey.
So what was your experience like, man, as a game? You know, we always, hear you making jokes and stuff, and sometimes you give it a little bit of insight, but like, how did it really feel to have your game showcased as the resident game developer?
I mean, it was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I was fighting back tears right before they pulled me on the monitor. I was like, oh man, I can't believe it. Like, over 100,000 people are watching this game all at the same time, and I'm kind of terrified. And the reaction was actually pretty positive. Obviously got little people, saying troll stuff, but for the most part, it was like, people were compared to like Guns the Duel and stuff like that. So that was actually a really positive thing to see. A lot of people wish list, wise, we went up like 600% in wish lists and stuff like that. So that was actually a really great,
600%. Hey,
600%. Yeah, right. A lot of people started wish listing the game, so that was really good.
And if you don't pre-order, you're gonna get a 600.
Yeah, and publishers reached out too. Like random ones was like, "Yo, we saw your thing on OTK. We thought it was really cool. Do you have a publisher?" And we're like, "Here's slide in the DMs real quick. Let's have a conversation."
We can use a check.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. More bags.
I like
yeah, some very interesting people that even people I can't because I'm under NDA about, possibly had conversations with. So yeah, overall it was really positive. And shout outs to Asmongold and them. Shout outs to them for giving me the platform, the opportunity to show the game off. So shout outs to them. It was really nice.
So yeah, if you guys want to, I think we have a video on the GI channel, right? I think Chaos uploaded a video. Yeah, so if you want to check it out, where he actually had his game showcase, youtube.com/GI updates. Just search Ethos Samurai Zero. It should come up. It's one of the latest videos if you look on the channel. Let's dial it back to the Game Pass though. This wasn't originally part of the notes, but I found this morning. So I was on Reddit, and there's a whole community, a Reddit page for the Game Pass. People just like talking about it. So I was like kind of scrolling through, and I was like, oh, this is an interesting post. Thought maybe we could create a conversation around this. So the title of this post I found is Premium DLC Subscription. So he said, this user said, wouldn't it be great to have a slightly more expensive Game Pass subscription, which would also include DLC? I find myself sometimes disappointed that I don't have the DLC for a game, but I'm also not going to purchase DLC for a game which I do not own. Since games are not definitively on Game Pass, I have never purchased any DLC because if the game would be removed from Game Pass, I would be stuck with the DLC without the actual game. So with that being said, I wanted to present the idea of if Microsoft came out with a third tier Currently, there's two, $10. That'll get you the Game Pass on either Xbox or PC. Then there's the $15 tier, which gives you Game Pass on Xbox and PC. Plus, it gives you the gold membership so you can play online. What if they came out with a, say, $20 tier where you get all those previous items, plus you get the DLC for every game on the Game Pass? Would you be willing to pay for that? Ethos, Missionary.
Yes, especially since Destiny. Oh my.
What did I do?
I hate you, dog. Yes, for especially Destiny, because Destiny was on the Game Pass. If I had been able to get like all those expansions and all the season pass stuff without having to pay for it, and I just pay a little extra off the Game Pass, yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat.
What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I would rather them make a tier and just keep it at their price rather than just up the price just because of inflation or whatever. Like, they're bringing out so many games that they feel like, the value should be higher. I was literally making this argument too, because I was comparing the PlayStation subscription to the Game Pass, and I was like, well, don't be surprised if Xbox decides to go up, especially looking at this and with their 12-month roadmap that they already talked about during their conference. I was like, don't be surprised, they're actually going to get games. So with all these games, like, don't be surprised that like next year they're like, oh, we're going to increase the price like $2, $3. I'd rather them do this though. It's actually not a bad idea. Like, I think anybody initially looking at this, you're like, oh, what the hell? Oh, we'll pay $20. But if you're getting all the DLC, like, it's a lot of DLC for a lot of these games. So I think it actually would be worth it once you look at the actual value of it.
Yeah, if they came out with a premium DLC subscription where it was 20 or 25 a month, I'd probably pay for it just for the simple fact that, like, I know the Assassin's Creed DLC, they were charging like $30-$40 for that, and then the one I bought for Odyssey, like, it was a completely different game. It was worth it in my opinion, because it was for the true ending and I cared about that, but also it was a completely different game and it was like 20 hours worth of content. So it's like, if I don't want to pay for that shit. That's the thing. So if I can get it on Game Pass as well as like play the game, I would absolutely go for it. But I would only subscribe to this higher tier depending on what the catalog is. Like, if they continue to add more AAA titles with that DLC, then yeah, I'd be more inclined. But I think I would have to look at, what they have to offer before I would just go right away. But I think this would probably sell like hotcakes for a lot of people. I know a lot of people. I think it was Chaos the other day. He was just talking about, like, he was pissed because it was some Assassin's Creed game. Like, I think it was Valhalla. Like, he couldn't get the true ending because, like, you need the DLC or some shit like that. A lot of games, people don't even realize that. If you did not play the DLC in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you didn't actually beat the game. You don't actually know what happened, and it sucks that they're hiding it behind that shit. So if there's a way to subscribe to it and it's not breaking the bank for people and they actually care about that content, you just don't want to pay for it, I say go for it. Because I agree. If you have the Game Pass, I like what he said. If you're having the Game Pass and then buying the DLC, but you don't own the game, so then you're stuck with this piece of content you can't use. Just add another subscription, make it premium. I think people would go for this. So if anybody from Microsoft is listening, just remember where you heard it from first. The Game Pass Missionary, he was the one that brought it up. But yeah, just some food for thought. Let us know in the comment section if you're watching the video version at youtube.com/GI updates. Would you be willing to pay for a premium Game Pass? I think that's a conversation. Let's say they did come out with one. How do you think the response would be how do you think the response would be from the Sony ponies, guys?
I'm sure that they would hate it and they'd be like, oh, you got to pay $20. Like, it's not worth it. That's all they say. They just say it's not worth it.
What about you, Ethos?
Yeah, probably what JG said. They'll say it's trash.
Yeah, everything's trash.
Like everything else. Yeah, like everything else.
It's not Sony. Everything is trash.
Which I'm dying to know. Like, I need to like go down the YouTube rabbit hole and see like what the Sony ponies think about their PlayStation subscription.
That shit is ass.
Greatest shit in all games.
That shit is ass, bro. 700 games and nothing to play. That's crazy, ain't it? It's literally like having cable.
Yeah,
I analyzed the whole thing. I'm like, it's a lot of fluff in here, dog. It's not worth it.
It's a lot of good games on there. I went through several pages. The problem is they're good games from like 5 to 10 years ago. So if you haven't played them and you really want to play them, I guess then yeah, it's cool. But it's like, at least with the Game Pass, the AAA games that they have on there, they're only like a year, 2 years. Some of them are like brand new. They're still relevant to some degree. Like that shit I saw, I was like, I don't really want to play Siphon Filter that bad, my guy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's even worse than all the PS3 shit's just emulated. I think that's just even the kind of the unfortunate thing on top of that. It's like or not even emulated. I'm sorry, it's not even emulated. The PS3 stuff's all streaming. There's like no emulation of the PS3 games, so it's like
it's
not
unfortunate. And you can't download anything. I don't know why they chose to go that route. Weird.
Probably the architecture. That PS3 was weird with all of its hardware. That's probably exactly why. Maybe they can't do it. I don't know. Maybe they need more time for the emulator.
Yeah, the general
Xbox did it. Yeah.
The general consensus I've seen online is people don't like this new PlayStation Plus tiers. Like even like Sony fans, I'm seeing. Like I've seen a few people that say they like it, but for the most part, I've seen like Sony should probably be paying attention. You guys, there's just there's nothing wrong with straight up copying anybody. Sometimes like just mimic the damn Xbox Game Pass. Make an actual Netflix type of experience. Like quit trying to do some different shit that's not even better than what you're trying to compete with. Why would people subscribe to that? But yeah, let's get into what else has been going on in the gaming space since the last podcast. So E3 is not going on this year, although they say they're coming back next year, they announced. But what did happen is the Summer Games Fest, as well as a bunch of other studios and publishers, had their own little showcase. So the Summer Games Fest is Bootleg E3, hosted by the Doritos and Mountain Dew Pope himself, Jeff Keighley. He did a whole little presentation, brought a bunch of games on stage, developers, showcase, stuff like that. What's the name? Some of the big takeaways from the Summer Games Fest is they showed off Callisto Protocol, which is the spiritual successor to what's that game called? Dead Space. It's actually created by the original man who created Dead Space. So like I'm personally excited about that game. That game looks really good. But they also saw Street Fighter, Alien Dark Descent, a bunch of other games. I don't know if y'all noticed, there was a lot of space like horror games, a bunch of games that look like Dead Space. Even some of the developers were like, we were inspired by it. I was like, is this the year of fucking Dead Space? What the hell?
A lot of horror games, a lot of thriller horror games coming out.
Modern Warfare 2, some gameplay was revealed for that. Witchfire, which is a first-person shooter. Like I said, all these bootleg Dead Space games. Outriders DLC, which by the way, I was actually at Summer Games Fest. Every game had a bunch of people around the TVs, and they had a booth for Outriders, and nobody touched that shit the entire. And
you ruined my joke. I was about to say that was my favorite. No! Go ahead, no. That's actually funny that they had it there in the expansion. Nobody would have played that shit.
Yeah, and mind you, I was there for like 8 hours. Nobody was at that Outriders booth. I was like, that shit was. I felt bad for them, but that shit was embarrassing. Like that game sucks though. That's what happens when you make a bad game. Nomad killed it, by the way. Goat Simulator 3, that got shown off. Marvel Midnight, bunch of stuff. First of all, how are we feeling about Summer Games Fest overall as a presentation? Were you entertained? And then talk about the games. What'd you like? What'd you dislike? Trash? What?
I think that this is a good start for Jeff Keighley really having the the main stage. For there being no E3, I can easily see this, like if E3 continues to not be a thing, or it just like I think that even if E3 does truly come back, which I still don't believe, I think they're going to end up probably canceling it again. But if they really don't come back, or if they do come back, it's not going to be the same as it was. I don't think it's going to be the same capacity. So I like it how it is, especially when I found out, through you and Paris and a couple other people who are mutuals, that they had like an actual physical space where you could play these games and talk to these devs. Like that small intimate space, I think that that's super dope, and that's what I felt like E3 was really lacking once they started letting the general public in and charging them to actually come to the actual conference or the event, the convention. So I think that Jeff definitely has a good thing on his hands with this, and all he has to do is really capitalize. Like he can truly make it bigger. Like it can really be like E3 just without the big boots. Like he can make it a slightly bigger thing, and maybe invite some fans. But that's just I'm just talking about the physical aspect. But I think like as far as like the presentation and stuff, like they were cool. It kind of reminded me of like an expanded Game Awards, where you just we have all these world premieres, but it was just a lot more games that you could show, because obviously it's it's going to be taking place of E3, so it's a lot of shit to show. So I think it's a good product here. It's a good product, and I did like some games here. Like I said before, Outriders was my favorite. I really liked that. Ghost Simulator definitely brought people for a loop because they were like, "What the hell is this?" Like they're making fun of Dead Island, and like people just swore up and down that it was Dead Island, but they were just making fun of it for Ghost Simulator. But they showed some cool stuff though, like Street Fighter was cool. They showed that Callisto Protocol had everybody going crazy. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was meh, but you know it's there. We know it. It looks like it looks like literally the previous Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2,
but
like
JG,
one of those missions.
All my favorite influencers said it's gonna be good. Didn't you see the gift boxes Activision sent them? That's not sketchy.
Oh. you know they be on. Witchfire actually looked pretty good. I like that. So yeah, it was a couple of things that I liked on here. So like I say, I think the overall product is pretty good, and I truly think that like if Jeff plays it correctly, like it can really overtake E3. Because I think that again, if E3 comes back, it's going to be a shell of its former self. So there was some dope stuff that they showed here, and like I said, I want to, if they continue doing it like this, like I do want to come to LA, in the upcoming years and be a part of this.
Yeah, I because I was physically there, I could say I liked it. In terms of like the actual physical setup, what he was doing, what I was telling Danny is I was like, what he has to do now is he just has to expand it. Like it was a small space and they had like 20 some games there or whatever. All he has to do is get that and maybe like 2 more rooms like the same size and just fill it out with fucking games. But like the small intimate space like that, and then like each game had 4 TVs and 4 couches. And just book appointments or whatever, and you can do your interviews like that. It was cool. It was like a small press little event or whatever, and it was very easy to travel. Honestly, it was more of a social event. They had taco trucks there, so we got like free lunch and stuff like that. It was more of a social event for you to like meet other people in the industry as well as get your hands on these games. And like one of the biggest problems with E3 was like it was too big for its own good. It was almost like ego. I remember our feet would be hurting by the end of the day because like we had one interview in the East Hall, then we would have to go to the West Hall. And mind y'all, it took like 10 minutes to get from one hall to like another. A lot of times longer because it was so many people you had to shuffle through. This small little intimate thing and made it easier to get the job done. And if he wants to open it to the public, I don't know, do 3 days, 2 days for press, 1 day open to where people can come and check out the games. But I like the idea that he has. He's just got to build it out a little bit more, and I think he has the connections to do that. Also, I think it's kind of a rough year because of like COVID, so it probably wasn't a lot to show in the first place. But in terms of like the presentation, the games that they showed, like I said, I'm excited for Callisto Protocol. I'm a big fan of the Dead Space series and to see the original creator working on it. No, they didn't have a demo for that, but the dude was there. We actually got an interview with them on XPlay. GB got to do the interview with the dude, so if y'all want to check it out. I also got to interview the producer, the chief producer, and the director for Street Fighter 6. So we have an interview for that on youtube.com/xplay. If you guys want to learn more about XPlay, apparently I was asking questions that nobody else. It was, the crazy part is the Street Fighter booth was the most popular one there. I saw a lot of content creators pull up. I saw Max there and like a whole bunch of other people. Apparently, like nobody was asking them questions because they were like, thank you for asking these questions. I was like, I thought it was a press event. A lot of FGC dudes there. I guess they wouldn't ask, besides Max, because he did put out a good video. But everybody else, they weren't really asking no questions. I was like, interesting. Just here to play the damn game. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's literally the point. That's why they come.
It's literally for clout. They just wanted to take a picture. Look, I'm playing the Stano motherfuckers, bro. That shit is weird, bro. I don't get it. So that was really cool because the interview was in Japanese and we had like a whole translator. They were super nice. And then one of the producer, his backpack, he had a bunch of like Naruto shit on it. So then when I told him my name, he's like, like obviously I can't speak to him directly, but he had like that nod. He's like respect basically. But yeah,
you knew what Okage meant.
Yeah. But yeah, some highlights from the actual Summer Games Fest was one that got a lot of people talking. It wasn't a highlight for me, but it was a highlight for a lot of people. Was The Last of Us remaster that got announced. It'll be on the PS5, $70. What they're changing is the visuals. So what they're doing is they're actually changing the visuals to look closer to The Last of Us Part 2, but then also they're changing the character models to look more like the actual voice actors. So if you actually look up screenshots, the characters will look almost, I do see a difference. And then the gameplay will be closer to 2, but the same like story and stuff like that. How you guys, first of all, I didn't even get your thoughts, my bad, on Summer Games Fest and like The Last of Us remaster announcement, Ethos.
Yeah, Game Fest was cool. There was some stuff I saw that I liked. Some stuff I was like, I don't really care about this, but overall I think for a first try it was not bad. So looking forward to seeing, of course, like, you know, as he gets feedback and iterates on it further. I think definitely 2022 has been just that, like, COVID has been pretty obvious with the game delays and everything like that. That's why I you know, for what the situation was, you know, he did a solid job. As for Last of Us Remaster, I really don't care. The only reason I would have like been really excited for it is if it included the multiplayer, but as it's told, it does not. So I really just don't care now.
So the question is, this is a remaster of a game that came out in 2013. When have we reached the point where, like, I brought it up behind the scenes. I was like, as much as I like Naughty Dog games, I was like, I feel like they're being a little lazy. Like, I get they updated the visuals, but like, this is supposed to be like one of the premier studios in gaming, and I'm like, how many remasters are we gonna get? I love The Last of Us, the first one, but I was like, I didn't like it that damn much, bro. Like, well, we need that. Like, they talking about this shit like it's fucking Mass Effect, bro. Like, no, it's not. What it? Do you think we've reached a weird point in gaming where we're getting too many remasters for the remasters, Jay?
Absolutely. I talked about this on the stream, but I was like, okay, we're like, when the PS4 version came out,
we were mad about that too. I remember.
Yeah, I was mad about it.
I could understand the PS4 version though. A lot of people didn't get to play the 3 because people forget the Last of Us did come out on the tail end of the PlayStation 3, and I didn't own a 3 back then. I was an Xbox dude, so the 4 made sense.
But the argument was that they literally dropped this thing. Like, if you remember, Last of Us came out in 2013, like at the tail end of the PS3's era. Like, it was like I think the swan song of the PS3. Then they dropped the PS4 version, literally, I think a year after it had been out. And they charged $60. They didn't give any sort of like, if you own this game on PS3, we'll discount it for you, something like that. Like, you were essentially paying for, which I could argue didn't really visually feel like a big upgrade. It was like, oh, the textures are less blurry, and that's about it. Now, I get it from like, I was just like you. I had an Xbox. I didn't get a PS3 at all. So for me, you know, I was like, oh yeah, I'll buy this, sure, yeah. And I ended up playing it for hundreds of hours because more of the multiplayer. I loved the multiplayer more than I did the single player. So, yeah, like I think that was like the argument about like why people were kind of like upset about like the remaster of Last of Us 4. I'm trying to remember when it came out. Was it 2014? It was. Yeah, 2014. So literally, I think, it came out literally a year later. Yeah, Last of Us came out June 4th, 2013. So literally a year later, around basically a year, they dropped, right when the PS4 dropped, they dropped another copy of it and made people pay $60. And now it's kind of weird too, because now they're doing it again. They're now bringing it to the PS5, and now they're doing the same thing. Oh, we're updating the visuals of it, and on top of that, to make it worse, we're taking out a like part of the content of the game, which was the multiplayer. Like, now you can't even play the multiplayer. So I think it's kind of screwed too, because what about the community of people who play Last of Us multiplayer or like play it? It's now going to be so small, because now it's just like they're only in this like remaster Frankenstein that was on the PS4 that now you have to like backwards compatible on the PS5 to play. Get what I mean? So it's kind of like, yeah, like I feel like the multiplayer people like myself really feel like we really got screwed out of it. I feel like it would have been way more okay, or would have been more compelling if the multiplayer was included, but because it's not, I feel like it's very hard for me to like say the $70 price tag is fair. I just don't agree with it at all.
So that was my that was my thing. I remember I made a video about this back in the day when the PS4 version came out, and I was like, well, why are people buying it so late? Did you all just not have a PS3? Majority of people said no. And I'm like, okay, that's understandable, because me, I didn't have a PS3 back then. I had an Xbox 360, but at the tail end of the Xbox 360 life cycle, I was like, fuck it, like I really want to play Last of Us, so I just traded it in, and I got the Last of Us on PS3. So I could excuse the people who, you know, just didn't own it and they got a PS4 instead and just want to play it. I was like, fine. But this one here, I asked the same question. I was like, what excuses do you all have now? Because this game is almost 10 years old, and they're bringing it back out again. This is literally like the GTA effect at this point.
Most of y'all don't even got PS5s.
And most of y'all don't even have PS5. But the one thing that they said, and DX said this, and I was like, okay, like you have really, really good patience, because he said he never owned a PS3 or PS4. He didn't play it at all, and so he's waiting on the PC version. But one, we don't even know when the PC version is coming out. They still didn't announce that. They only announced when the PS5 version is coming out, which is in September. So we still don't know how much longer we have to wait on the PC version. But literally the biggest thing besides what Ito said with the lack of multiplayer is $70 price tag. There is no way on God's green earth that game should be $70. $40 should be the most that you should charge for that. That's really a travesty. And I think that's really the thing that I'm just most upset about.
Can you think of the really messed up part is that like Mass Effect literally dropped its remaster last year, and that came with 3 games and almost every piece of DLC that ever came out with that game. It was like literally like 1,000. Like,
and the only reason it didn't come out with that one piece of DLC is because the files were corrupted, but it would have had it.
Yeah, and the only thing was, and they had to cut the multiplayer because they said they couldn't get the server. They didn't have the time to get the server infrastructure to work with this like different version, how to make it talk to the 360 version. But like that right there is just an example of like, at least like you could feel like there was an effort done and they did the best that they could, especially considering that the game was extremely old, like a decade like Last of Us. Like I think even older than Last of Us, right? Like it came out in 2007, 2008. So
yeah, the original Mass Effect came out in 2008, I think.
Yeah, and it had a lot of issues like from back in the day, like a lot of like texturing issues, stuff like that. But the difference is like Last of Us, the first game, I would argue it hasn't even aged badly. It's not like the game is unplayable.
Still looks good.
It still looks good and it still plays good. Like now that since they did the whole like update where it went to 60 FPS, you could honestly play the PS4 version of it and it'd be perfectly good to you. What I think is happening, this is just my take. I think what's really happening here is Sony and Naughty Dog know that they have that HBO series coming out, and they know potentially the game's going to get exposed to a bunch of brand new people, and I think they think they're going to be able to double dip them.
It's a marketing play.
It's a rollout. It's a
rollout. They know because I bet you the HBO show is going to drop right around the time this game's going to drop, and I have a feeling that like they our hardcore fans, that really love Last of Us, they don't care. They're going to spend the $70, $100, whatever. They're a lost cause. We know for a fact they're going to buy. But for the people, like, obviously that are just like, oh, I played the game already. I played the game twice, or I own the game twice. There's no way. Why would I buy this game a third time with less content? They're like, all right, well, they don't matter. We lose them, but potentially this is kind of the same effect that Witcher had. I bet you they're looking at Witcher 3 and was like, well, when Witcher got on Netflix, there was a big influx of sales that Witcher 3 got because of the TV show. And I think they're thinking the same thing. They're like, all right, so we can not only capitalize on that, but let's drop an updated version of it. And obviously people are going to be like, well, what version of Last of Us do I get? Well, get the fancy new one that's now on PS5, the hottest console out right now. So you get it. So that's my take. That's why I think they're doing what they're doing.
No, I agree. It's a marketing play. It's one of those things though. It's an example of you live long enough to become the villain.
It's very greedy.
It's greedy because I did the math. The original Uncharted came out in 2007. And that was 15 years ago. And I don't care what nobody says. The Last of Us is Uncharted with zombies and a crafting system. It's the same shit. They've been making the same game for the last 15 years. And I'm like, bro, you're dropping another one? I just is like, yo, can we get a new Jack, a new IP? Like, Naughty Dog is supposed to be one of the premier. I was like, as far as I'm concerned, I just don't view Naughty Dog on the same level as like Respawn or whatever. It's like, I feel like they're getting a little greedy. And it's like, go do something else, dude. We're like, I don't know.
Maybe they're just becoming like kind of like the Kojima effect, right? Like get really good at one type of thing and just keep reiterating it and just bringing it out as much as you can instead of trying to like dive into something completely different.
I don't know, man. That box simulator was pretty different from Metal Gear.
Which one? No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe that's why they don't do it, right? Like at least Kojima, to his credit, whether you like Death Stranding or not, we already know what we believe, but like whether if you enjoyed it or not, at least I give Kojima credit. At least he didn't just make another Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, it's different.
Like, he did something completely different, which I'll give him pure respect for. That you got my respect for doing, at least attempting to try something different. But I feel like Naughty Dog is kind of like different. Like same idea as Kojima, only worked like back in the PS2 era, did the whole like Jack thing, that type of.
My argument is. Naughty Dog is
cinematic games.
Naughty Dog is like the Drake or like Kanye of like gaming. They've transcended their genre. Like it doesn't matter what Naughty Dog makes. At bare minimum, it's gonna sell. So as long as it's good, they'll be okay. And it's not like a smaller studio where like it's risky for them to try something new. And that's why I said they've lived long enough to become the villain. Like you guys are just being greedy. Like I would like to see them do more creative things. And it sucks too because right now some fans are working on a port of Jack and Daxter to PC, and it runs like in 4K, and I'm like, that just goes to show you people still want. I put the link in there if you want to look at it. It looks really good too.
Yeah, I saw it last week. Yeah.
And I'm like, this just goes to show you people still, your fans are making the game that they want you to make. Yeah, and they refuse to make it. The one positive glimmer of light though is a new Last of Us multiplayer standalone was announced. For those unaware, The Last of Us did have multiplayer on the original build, and it was actually really good. It had this whole crafting system, and I guess they're taking that and they're building upon it, and it's gonna have story elements on it. And if you read the article, it says that this multiplayer standalone for The Last of Us will have just as much story content as the actual like main games. So I'm curious to see. It'll take place in another part of the nation, I think. I'm curious to see how this is going to play in combination with like the story. I know you were a big fan of this, Ethos. How are you feeling about this? All they show was screenshots, by the way, for the people who are listening. There's no gameplay.
Yeah, this is what I'm really excited for. Like, this is the one thing I think out of Naughty Dog I'm really like excited for. I put an extreme amount of hours on the PS4 version. I was actually pretty damn good at the game, the multiplayer of it. I think it was actually like what you're talking about, like trying something different. That was the most like unique type of multiplayer game that I played in a long time, and I really enjoyed it. If they brought it back, I'd definitely play it. If they brought it back like as a battle royale, I think the game would work actually extremely well as a BR game, but I personally just don't want it. I'm sick of BRs. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. The premise and everything they've seen is really good. I'm curious because it's standalone. I'm wondering if it's going to be a free-to-play game. I have a very interesting take that I think it's going to be a free-to-play game. I don't think they're going to charge for this. I think that's why they're making it standalone. I think they're going to, like, Sony's been wanting to make live service games and push their multiplayer suites because they've been missing that sector of the market. I think they might try to dive into like the free-to-play aspect, and I think it might be coming out when the PC version of The Last of Us 1 thingamabob comes out. I think they're going to just time it all at once and drop it on. I think they might drop it on PC too. I think they're going to like do crossplay between PC and PS5. That's what I like to see. But,
how you feeling about the multiplayer, Jay?
I mean, we got to see some gameplay because that screenshot just doesn't do it for me. But I do like that they decided to go this route because we literally heard nothing about the multiplayer. Like, and a lot of people were upset, including Ethos from The Last of Us 2 did not come with multiplayer. So I felt like this was something that they just needed to do. It's interesting it's going to have its own like story. I felt like that was the more interesting aspect than just them announcing a multiplayer. But I mean, with seeing they're charging $70 for this remake of Last of Us, I don't know if this multiplayer is going to be free to play. But
they better not charge no $70 for no multiplayer standalone. Oh man, no, that would be ridiculous.
I mean, but it has a story to me though, so that's why it really leads me to believe that it's not going to be free.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's like $20. I'll get it. 30 maybe if there's a lot of stuff there and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I want. Like if it's exactly what I want, then yeah, I'll pay the 30. If they charge
20 and 30
dog, if they charge from $70 bullshit, dog, I swear to God, man, nah, I will not buy that shit day one. I'll wait.
Nah.
Or I'll get a key.
I might end up buying that Last of Us remaster just for the simple fact of doing a video on it, like a port report for like X Play. But do I really want to play it? No, it's strictly for like business. If I didn't have this job, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't buy this shit. But yeah, that's the Last of Us news right there. More lighthearted news. Spider-Man, they announced during the Summer Games Fest. Spider-Man, the original one that came out on PS4 with Peter Parker, not the Miles Morales one. It will be ported to the PC. And it'll come with all the DLC plus all the perks of PC, so improved visuals, you know, frame rate, blah 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 blah. Possibly, hopefully, the modding community gets a hold of this. But what was cool about that announcement, well, the funny part is a fan was so upset they took to Twitter and they took their custom Spider-Man PlayStation 4 and they sawed it in half because they were so angry that their exclusive Spider-Man game is now available on PC, which is all a part of Sony's bigger plan of bringing all their exclusives to PC. Did you guys, first of all, how do you feel about the Spider-Man port? And then also, did you get a chance to take a look at the guy sawing his PlayStation in half, his Spider-Man PlayStation in half out of anger?
Can't wait to play this on my Steam Deck.
Oh yeah, you couldn't
Can't wait.
Same day. It's another blow to the Sony fans.
Sorry, bro.
But y'all are losing.
I feel like
right
we say
now,
this
man.
every 6 months. Every 6 months we like we start a podcast. We announce that another PlayStation exclusive has gone to PC, and we're just like, it's another blow, man. Like
it's getting to the point where it's like, especially because like they're talking about a recession is coming. If money is really tight for you, it's getting to the point where if like you can only own like 2 platforms, your best bet would probably be a PC and maybe like Switch, because on PC you can get those Sony games and you can get the Game Pass.
I mean, you can get a Switch if you have a Steam Deck.
True.
Also, yeah.
You know, we nudge. Yeah.
Ain't wrong. I mean, yeah, it's interesting though, because I mean, we literally just announced 2 games back to back that are coming to the PC from Sony. So it's pretty hilarious. So at this point, you just gotta embrace it. Like, it's happening. It doesn't matter how long it will take for these games to come. They're coming. Like
the PC state of play, bro. That's what it's called.
And it's the best version. That's the
is.
part that's gonna make their soul burn. You played the inferior version, bro.
Yeah.
Was it?
God of War was really good. Rising games. I think. What do you think is next? I think Ghost probably. Ghost is gonna get announced probably by.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Those will probably be out next year.
The Last of Us, we just talked about. The Last of Us, I think is gonna come to PC.
I think they're gonna drop The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima around the same time, because I think the Spider-Man one's coming out this year, right? This fall, right? It's gonna be on PC this fall.
Yeah, especially if they bring like the multiplayer component of Ghost of Tsushima to PC, like as a free to play component or something like that, like people
crazy.
would go crazy.
Yeah, it'd definitely go crazy. The modding for the Spider-Man game is gonna be great too.
We need that Spider Pig mod.
Yeah, they're gonna mod it up like crazy, so that version's gonna be cool, because they did the same thing to God of War, so it's gonna be cool.
What's the name? I think the funny thing is this picture of him like sawing the PlayStation in half. This man almost cut his finger off. If you look at the picture, his finger's way too close to that damn saw, bro. Oh shit! So
because he's trying to hold it together while he's cutting it. Apparently, he said he lost a bet or something, but this is still ridiculous.
It's still
plastic flying all in his damn face and stuff.
Yeah, man, smoking up fumes and shit.
There was Sonic Central happened like the day of the Summer Games Fest, which is like a little press conference for everything Sonic. Ace's tattoos were tingling. They showed off Sonic Origins, which I recently just learned yesterday that it's not just a port of Sonic 1, 2, 3 and CD, but also you can play as any of the characters and like any of it. So you can play with Knuckles all the way through the games or whatever, like Tails if you wanted to, as well as like soundtracks. There's new music in there too, because unfortunately the Jackson estate, he worked on some of the soundtracks for Sonic. They weren't releasing the licensing rights to it, so like the original composers of Sonic had to go in and put some original music into the game. A lot of new content. They were showing off that Sonic Prime. This is a new TV show coming to Netflix. I don't know. I should have put a link in there. Did y'all get a chance to look at the trailer? There was like a brief little teaser for it.
Actually, no. Let me check.
It doesn't look bad. The animation doesn't look bad if you look it up on YouTube. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I'll watch this. The animation looks really good. And then they also showed off some new Sonic Frontiers gameplay. What's the name? And that third little bit of gameplay, it's getting much better feedback than the original 2 videos that IGN released, which, by the way, I forgot to mention this, but at Summer Games Fest, Sonic Frontiers was there. First of all, nobody knew it was going to be there, which is the funny part. We just showed up and we saw it on the TV. It was like, that wasn't in the emails. So they just showed up like last minute apparently, and the Sega security guards, they had blue Sonic shirts on, some regular Wrangler jeans, and they had the Sonic shoes on. And like I tried to go over there because it was four TVs per game at the Summer Games Fest. Nobody was sitting in the Sonic Frontier section, so I tried to go play. I was like, can I play? And he was like, no, we're only for people who booked appointments. I'm like, bro, there's literally nobody fucking here. Like, are you kidding me? Apparently they only showed it to like 2 people, but they had it out in the open. They were being really exclusive. Because
excuse me,
yeah,
what the hell?
They were being really exclusive because after the IGN shit, Sega's like really nervous.
Lock it down.
Yeah, they don't want any more bad press. But my thing is like, that's you and IGN's fault. You the one that greenlit that damn gameplay.
Indeed, you gave them the exclusive. So
everybody who's played the game, they said it's actually not bad. It's just that opening, that shit that they showed, that's just like a hub world. Apparently there's like traditional Sonic levels in it, and like that hub world is just to get from point A to B, as well as like little side quests and stuff in there to open up new areas and stuff like that. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that they haven't revealed yet, so I can't talk about that, but like GB was telling me that shit is fire. But yeah, they showed more Frontiers gameplay. Did anything from the Sonic Central speak to you guys? Shannick?
Well, I mean, obviously Frontiers. I was dying to know. I was literally waiting on the pod to ask you what you thought about it, but damn, you didn't get to play it, so
nope. They was like, get out of here, buddy.
Like, but yeah, I was literally about to come in here and say, like, wow, like, since the last time we talked about it, this game has been getting shit on. Like, people are very, very upset. But I mean, if that third trailer ended up, making it look better, because I did hear, like the same feedback that you heard from the people that actually did get their hands on it, and they said it, give it a chance. Like, don't just look at what IGN did with their gameplay. Like, it actually looks good, but people have been memeing this freaking game to death based off the trailer. So, I mean, it's an unfortunate situation that Sega was in due to the exclusive videos, but it is what it is. I said last time that I wasn't going to just use those and be like, oh, well, this game sucks. But we'll see as hopefully there's like a demo or beta that like everybody can play before it comes out. But obviously they have to rethink their strategy. I don't even know why they came to some of the Gamesfest if they were going to do it like that. But hey,
Sonic. Any takes on Sonic Central? Ethos. Did we lose Ethos?
No, I don't care.
Oh, okay. You know what you do care about? I've seen some people talking about on the timeline. This Neon White game. What is this shit?
Oh, you'd probably like it. It's a speedrunning game. It's a speedrunning anime styled game where basically like you're a assassin that's been contracted by God to basically exterminate demons that are in the lower part of heaven for him. And the way the game works is it's like a fast-paced like first-person shooter, and the way the guns work is that you kill these demons, and sometimes they drop these cards that represent a gun, and then they have different properties. So you can shoot the gun normally, or you can right click and it does a different property, like gives you like an explosion that bumps you up higher or makes you slam down the ground. So it's like a speed running game, like it's like Sonic basically, but with guns. Like you're running through the level as fast as you can, and you're comboing these cards to eliminate all the demons on the map as fast as possible to get the best score. And it has like a cool little anime persona, little backstory back in with the different characters and dialogue and stuff like that.
Is this a PC exclusive?
No, I think it's on like Steam. I think it might be on everything.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Steam page. It has overwhelmingly positive reviews. This game actually does look pretty good.
I played the demo of it last year when they had the Steam Next Fest last year. I tried the game out and I was like, oh, this game actually feels pretty good. So I wishlisted, and then I've been like quietly like anticipating it. It also has Steve Bloom in it, so great voice acting too.
This is Annapurna. Some people in the G4 office was like, yeah, Annapurna don't miss. And I'm like, what? I've never even heard of this.
They definitely missed a couple times.
The only Annapurna game that I knew was Stray, that cat game they have coming out.
12 Minutes was also published by them.
What's the name? Yeah, I got a preview of that damn Stray game. I was not impressed.
Oh, the cat?
Yeah, I wasn't impressed by that shit.
Are you allowed to speak about it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, what I saw. Yeah, I mean, like
about
it's called Stray.
Summer game. No, I'm talking about the summer games. That's where you played it.
No. I got a preview of this like weeks before the Summer Games Fest. It was like a behind the scenes thing.
Make sure you're not under embargo.
No, I'm not, because the embargo was like 2 weeks afterwards. I mean, I was just gonna say I wasn't impressed. I wasn't gonna get into any specifics.
So what is it? Siggy's looking forward to this. So
it's much. I was actually looking forward to it too, because I thought it was gonna be like kind of a platformer like this where you have to play as a cat, kind of like this Neon White game, but it's more of like an adventure game. And you're like kind of just, it seems like you're just kind of unraveling the world and what's going on, because like everybody's like robots in the world and shit. But like the platforming, I wasn't that impressed by it, because it was kind of like, from what it looked like, it was like you had to click a button and then the cat will jump. It's all like kind of hold your hand. It's more of like the atmosphere and the adventure type of thing.
This is a vibe.
Yeah, it's more of a vibe type of game. And I was like,
exploring the cyberpunk city.
I feel like they had the opportunity to really do some cool shit as a cat. Like being able to, I don't know, do backflips and jump. I mean, they're fucking agile. I wasn't impressed. I'd rather watch the Puss in Boots movie that's coming out.
Interesting.
Yeah, but who knows?
Maybe it'll be good. To it.
We'll see. I'll probably still give it a try, but like just what I saw, I wasn't that impressed. What else did we? Oh yeah, you brought it up earlier that you weren't impressed by that, but they showed some Modern Warfare 2 gameplay at Summer Games Fest. It was story stuff, nothing multiplayer. I wasn't impressed either. It was a lot of just here's my graphics.
It sure was Call of Duty.
It was a pretty game.
Same old, bro.
Yeah, same old.
It was like just walking in slow motion. Look at our graphics. Look at our guns.
I kind of thought it was gonna look even better, like compared to 2019, but it really feels like I feel like it's gonna come out and people are gonna say this feels like it's just 2019 with just new content. I feel like that's what the result's gonna be.
Yeah, it was cool, like that little moment when they were on the boat and it was leaning, and then like you had to, adjust to the physics of the leaning boat. Like I was like, that's cool. It wasn't that.
I mean, but they've done something like that before.
Yeah, like, they have.
Again, it's not. Yes.
I'm trying to give him something, bro.
Like that mission. That mission's
like, play so many damn games I don't remember, bro. Like,
it looked like one of the old stages. It looked like wet work off of the original Modern Warfare.
It's like that, and then you remember in Modern Warfare 2, they do the exact same thing. They go to an oil rig, remember, and they breach those doors to get the hostages. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's the same.
The co-op stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it's the same type thing.
Yeah, I didn't even play the story in 2019, which is I heard it was good, but I probably won't play the story in this. I just want to see what the multiplayer is like.
It's just it wasn't terrible.
It was okay.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
I wonder what else they can do like in this modern timeline in terms of like weapons and like storyline. Like,
nothing. I don't think there's really anything.
Nothing, bro.
I feel like they're just right now just regurgitating the original timeline. They're just doing little shifts here and change. Here's the thing. This is what we should put a money down or bet down. Is Ghost going to live in this game, or do you think they're going to kill him off just like they did in the OG?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even remember who Ghost is.
He's the one with the mask.
Yeah, the mask.
British guy.
I have no affinity to any of these characters. Like only character I remember is Soap, and I don't even remember his storyline. I just remember them shouting Soap. I just remember them saying his name, but like there's nothing memorable about the Call of Duty stories other than Black Ops. The numbers, Mason. That's the only thing I really remember. And like the flashbacks and shit like that.
Yeah, well, a lot of Call of Duty fans they really loved Ghost from the OG. Like he was like I think the favorite character from MW2, and everyone was mad that basically they kill him. Remember, like Shepard shoots him in the back of the head. And it's like,
I do remember that part. Okay,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
And you get mad because he's like, he was like one of the coolest characters, and they just killed him off at the end of the game. So
Call of Duty.
What do you see? Live or die?
I hope he dies so everybody can get mad.
Die. JG, live or die?
I will also say die.
I'll say he lives. All right, so we'll say this 2-1. All right, we'll see.
Matter of fact, no, I'm gonna change my answer. They're gonna let him live because they need something to milk.
Make some money. Yeah. They love her. We'll keep him alive.
Oh shit! Because Call of Duty is on its last leg. I feel like with Call of Duty, it's like if you just kick the leg under, that bitch gonna fall at any point, bro. It's just
any moment now. Yeah.
Don't worry, Microsoft will save it, man. Yeah. They're going to save it.
Hopefully, we'll see. If
hey kids, did you know the first Call of Duty came out on PC as an exclusive back in like 1999?
They do not care, bro. I swear a lot of people, a lot of the audience probably had no clue, bro.
Yeah, for a lot of people, Call of Duty didn't start until Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
It's so funny that they like, a lot of people, they just love the console version. Oh my god, like it started on PC, y'all.
Let me tell you what the engine was based off of originally. A PC game called Quake.
What's good, everybody? It's UTXJT the Don, 1/3 of the Game Illuminaughty. This podcast is sponsored by Zavi. It's still June, and we just had some bangers come through for all of my pop culture fans. Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 1 came out at the end of May and had social media on fire. Zavi had to get in on the action to bring you a merch drop that will satisfy any fan. Along with the merch, there is a Royal Bobble Zavi exclusive that's limited to only 1,000 pieces, so get on that ASAP. Obi-Wan Kenobi just finished as you are hearing this, and you can't deny how fire that miniseries was. The Obi-Wan collection is also available with some dope shirts and hoodies. Don't forget about that Star Wars 45th anniversary collection. None of those your thing? Well, how about Jurassic World Dominion? Or maybe Call of Duty? Are you getting my point now? Zavi is the planet of pop culture for almost anything you could think of. They make all of their clothing on demand in their UK warehouses until they sell out. There are tons of exclusive clothing collections and other products from the biggest franchises. But best of all, it's affordable. I just got done buying 5 shirts and I ain't even break the bank. So make sure you check out us.zavi.com right now. Use code GI Podcast for 20% off of clothing and 10% off of everything else. That's us.zavi.com and use code GI Podcast.
Next big showcase was the Bethesda Xbox showcase. It was like 2 hours long, and it was nothing but pretty much straight games. There was a little bit of intervention in between, like a little bit of interviews, whatever, but it was mostly just gameplay. They did a 12-month roadmap. So basically, these games that they announced 50 games. 38 will be on the Game Pass, and these games are all coming in the last half of 2022 and the first half of 2023. So the next 12 months. Some highlights. They include what was that shit? That vampire game.
Redfall.
Yeah, Redfall. I thought that Flintlock looked pretty cool.
Flintlock.
Yeah, Plague looked cool, but we already knew that was coming.
Stalker 2 looked pretty good.
Yeah, Starfield, they showed that. And then another big announcement that I feel like kind of got swept under the rug was the League of Legends shit. I don't care about it. But I know if you're like a League fan, getting all that content.
That's massive.
Yeah.
That partnership with Riot is crazy.
That's insane.
So if y'all didn't hear, you get all the champions for free on Game Pass for League of Legends, and that's League of Legends and Valorant.
And the mobile game of League.
Yeah, and Wild Rift. So that's a big deal. All the Persona games are going to be on Game Pass. That's a big deal. I seen people on Twitter be like, it's nothing to play on. I'm like, bro, I don't believe High on Life. That game looked fire. That's a new game that's being written and developed by the people behind Rick and Morty. Looked really fun. I don't know what people were talking about when they said they didn't have no games to play. I was like, it looked pretty. They showed Overwatch 2.
Pretty thick.
Yeah.
That Forza DLC looked gas too. The Hot Wheels.
Hot
Wheels look good. Hot Wheels look good.
I'm gonna have to download Forza. I keep forgetting that shit's on Game Pass.
Forza's pretty good, man.
So first of all, let's talk about. Oh, they showed Diablo 4 too as well.
Diablo looked good.
Let's talk about everything except for Starfield. Like, how did we feel about the presentation overall? And then we're gonna go into the Starfield conversation. So Jay, how did you feel about the presentation and the 49 games, that not including Starfield, the 50th? How did you feel about it as a whole?
Like, I'm actually impressed. I am impressed at what Microsoft did this year. First of all, for the last few years, they've been just sticking to the games. They haven't been, making any other announcements about anything else. They've literally just been showing games. I initially came into this thinking that Bethesda was going to save them, since they acquired them. I was like, Xbox or Microsoft is going to have nothing to show, and it's just going to be mainly Bethesda stuff. But I think that them, first of all, saying that this is what's coming in the next 12 months, freaking genius. You literally have almost 80% of the games that they show are coming to Game Pass. That's freaking major. And I know the ethos was just eat it up. You're like, yeah, they got everything to play almost.
I was rubbing my hands.
And the games that they show, going back to what you said, TBA, like, there's nothing. I truly cannot believe that there is nothing that you don't want to play here. It's freaking 50 games total. And some of my favorite games that I saw here, Redfall, I thought that it was genius opening up with that, even though it got delayed, but that's okay. That looked dope. Wolong looked dope.
Oh, I forgot Wolong. Yeah. I don't know if you saw.
Look fire.
They it's made by Team Ninja, and they confirmed it's going to be a Soulsborne type of game. Soulsborne fighting Lu Bu, nigga. What?
Yeah, no,
I caught PTSD, bro. Just seeing that.
Ready for right?
PTSD, bro. I said, now I gotta fight him in a Souls game.
I'm ready for Wolong. Don't sleep on that game.
Yeah. So Wolong looked dope. Flintlock looked dope. Erebon Shadow Legacy, that looked good. Atomic Heart, and surprisingly Diablo 4 looked good. And I don't even really play Diablo games. The last Diablo I played was 2. So I'm actually sort of interested to get into Diablo 4. So those are like some of the games that stood out for me. Besides, the other stuff that either is not coming on Game Pass or I've already played or I already saw. So that was the standouts for me out of the new games that I saw. But what we mentioned before, like with the Riot stuff coming to Game Pass and the Persona stuff, even though Persona fans are something else, like maybe I need to try it out, because I'm like, I know y'all played all these games before, so I don't know why y'all excited. I don't know why they're excited about them going on Game Pass. So I guess that's my only disconnect.
Because it's gonna be on PC. It's gonna be on PC finally. That's why.
Oh, so they were never on. Okay, so the games were never on PC.
The only way you could play is 5 was never on PC, 3 was never on PC, and only 4 recently in the past couple of years got ported just randomly from the Vita port. It got ported to PC, and it's on Steam right now. And everyone, like, if you check the review scores, it's like astronomically, like, people overwhelmingly love Persona 4 Golden. So like we've been asking for years to have Persona 5 and Persona 3 because they've been stuck on like PlayStation for the longest, and now you're gonna get them on the Xbox and for PC and for the Game Pass.
Okay, see. now that makes sense. Okay, now I understand.
It's massive for Wii. Yeah,
Wii. Y'all played these games.
Yeah.
Y'all did.
Yeah, it's mostly for like just like the anime audience and stuff like that, and for the few people who somehow have not played Persona 5 yet. Like, I haven't played Royale. I only played the OG version of it. I didn't play the updated version of it. So they added like a bunch of new content into Royale and stuff like that. So if you've never played it, I would recommend you. You might like 5 because you like Yakuza. It's similar to that.
This game like long as hell though.
Yes, that's a 100-hour game. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're gonna be
ain't nobody got time for that, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Ain't nobody got time for
that. 5 took me. I was over 100 hours by the time I got to the final like part of the game.
Yeah, I might just skip out on that one, but that's cool. Okay, so now I understand. But yeah, like these games look dope, and the fact that they're coming out in the next 12 months, like you can't beat that. It literally gives you something to look forward to, and you're not sitting here wondering, oh, is this game going to come out next year? Is it going to come out in 2 years? Is it going to come out in 3 years? No, they told you it's coming out within the next 12 months. So like this roadmap looks crazy, and like I said, 2023. Like if you're a gamer, you're going to be eating good, because that's when the real shit is going to drop. So Microsoft did a fucking amazing job. Like for the first time in a long time, I can say that they hit it out the park with this one.
I want to say, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say this is a massive W. Gamers always complain that these developers announce stuff and then it doesn't come out 5 years later, right? They showed you what's coming out in the next 12 months, and I did the math, and there are 8 games that will be on the Game Pass that I want to play off of this list. So then it becomes this conversation, because for the people who say, oh, there's nothing here to play, so I would say to you, how many of these, like, does it become a W for you if they hit 45 out of 50 or 49? Because the way my brain works is like 8 is a lot. That's too many, actually, because I don't have the time to play all this shit.
I can't play no 50 games.
Yeah, so every game has to be a banger for you. As long as they got like 2 or 3 picks on here, that should be good for you. Also, keep in mind, this is what I'm realizing as I start to mature and get older. A lot of people are just not capable of viewing the world outside of their lens. Everything is not going to be 2K, Call of Duty. This list of games was designed to appeal to a lot of people. And then let's bring it back to the Riot thing. From a business standpoint, this is a W for the people who do not get it. I just Googled. There are 140 champions in League of Legends, and you would have to buy them all or grind the fuck out of the game to get them if you just want to do the free-to-play shit, right? Imagine being somebody who wants 100, who only owns like 20 of the champions, and they play League all the time. They see all 140 are going to be on the Game Pass for $10 a month. Plus you get all these other AAA and indie games you get to play. This is like, whether you're interested or not is irrelevant. This is a massive business W for fucking for Microsoft, because it's gonna suck a lot of people into their ecosystem. And that's what I'm starting. I'm like, yo, y'all just don't get it. Like, this is a long-term play that's gonna get a lot of people addicted. But I saw a lot of dope games here I wanted to play. What about you, Ethos?
No, I agree. I tweeted exactly what you said a little bit earlier, where I was kind of surprised by, like, there's definitely like people who are just straight up like just trying to push crazy agendas, like trying to like downplay this and act like it's not a big deal compared to Sony, and it's just it's an L, or the whole conference was an L. I had this thought actually last week after I like reviewed it all, and I was like, it's kind of crazy. Like, if you remember back when we were younger, like Xbox used to be this like hardcore like brand.
It was the do bro machine.
It was the do bro
Gears of War and Call of Duty.
Yeah, but if you look at it now, it feels like PS5 has like become that sort of like hardcore like bro type of machine, and the like Xbox has become this like inclusive, like this is where everybody is.
There's something for everybody on this game list right now. Yeah. There's something for everybody.
Like, even if you're not a hardcore gamer, you could have people who are casual gamers look at this and be like, oh, this looks like some cool stuff I'd like to try out. Like, this is like an overwhelming amount of content, and I feel like the Riot thing is massive. I think like people who are in the console space don't even understand how massive that is, because that's just, for me, I think that's like an incubator. That's just the beginning. I think it's only a matter of time before, whether it's Riot has other games that they've said, that League of Legends fighting game, I bet you that's going to end up on here on the Game Pass, that like they're going to start to warm the waters with that. That fighting game is going to end up day one on the Game Pass.
And you get all the characters for the fighting game.
Yep, because they're gonna be like, because this is the thing. A lot of people don't know this, is that League's the Riot's player count and stuff like that is kind of separated from like the hardcore gaming community thing. A lot of people don't know this, but like if you're on PC, what you might know is, you might even have friends like this. there's a lot of people in the Riot ecosystem that don't really play PC gaming. Like they don't have like top of the inline rigs, or they don't have like, you know, the best rigs, or they don't play a bunch of hardcore games on PC. A lot of them are people who either have toasters, or they have they only play League of Legends. Like that's all they play on PC, or Valorant. Like they're like hooked on these games, and that's all they play. And any other time, they're usually on their console or something like that. So that group of gamers right there, that like really doesn't touch the Xbox, doesn't touch the ecosystem of Xbox. This is massive for them, because now there is a huge like amazing deal that on top of all these games you're going to get access to, right? And cloud gaming and all this stuff, that even at the bare minimum, you know that like I don't have to pay money to unlock any future League of Legends character, where there's over 100 of them, any of them on the mobile, and for Valorant. Like I'm just playing now, I was playing Valorant earlier. Like just getting that access is already an amazing deal off rip, considering that like each agent in Valorant cost about like, I think it's like about $5 to $7. I think it's $7. It costs $7 to unlock a Valorant champion if they come out, if you want to get them like off the bat, if you don't have the money to unlock them. League of Legends champions are like about the same thing. You're about to be spending about $10 to get the news champion if you don't want to, like, if you don't have the grind currency for it. So the other thing that makes this compelling too is a lot of people smurf in League and Valorant, so they would easily pay the $10 so that their smurf account would have all the access to all the characters, so they can play on a secondary account that's hooked into their Game Pass. So like this is very strong for them. And on top of this, just like what you guys said, I thought the Horizon DLC looked fire. Somerville looked cool. That Plague Tale looked good. We were talking about earlier, TBH, the Warhammer 40K game looked good.
I played it. It was good.
Yeah, that Grounded game finally left early access, and now it's fully out in the game now. That's Obsidian. So that's a multiplayer like co-op game that, you know, if you want to play with your friends. Overwatch 2 was big, went free to play. So that's massive. Overwatch 2 is now completely free to play. High on Life looked great. Atomic Heart, which is that BioShock Russian game, looks pretty cool. Like I said, all the Persona games. The flight simulation. I know the people in that space really were hyped about that. Slime Ranchers 2, Party Animals. Diablo 4, Redfall, which we know, like, they're not shown here yet, but we know once the acquisition happens, Diablo 4 is going to be on the Game Pass for free. Redfall looked good. Starfield looked good. Another Forza game coming out. Stalker 2 looked good. Well, like, there's also a bunch. It's insane. Yeah,
going back to like the Riot
Cocoon
thing,
looked cool. That Cocoon game looked cool too.
League and Valorant, getting all those characters is going to bring that audience into the Microsoft ecosystem. And then when, we're not saying it's going to happen, but educated guess, if they bring that fighting game, Riot's fighting game, to the Game Pass, then the FGC members, the people that go to all these tournaments, which is huge, they're going to look at it and they're going to be like, well, do I want to get it on the PlayStation, or would I just pay $10 for the Game Pass? And granted, I believe it's going to be a free-to-play fighting game, but I'll get all those characters that I was going to buy anyway, plus I get all of these games. It's going to, probably the FGC is probably going to be sucked into the Microsoft ecosystem because it's just a better overall deal. Then they're going to be playing all these other different games. And that's the key thing I think a lot of people are missing here, is that it is very compelling when you try to tell me and say, well, a lot of these are multi-plat, or some of these are going to be on PlayStation. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to still be able to play Diablo 4 on PlayStation 5, or I'm going to be able to play like Plague Tale's not exclusive, like, you know, whatever the like grouping of these games. You're like, well, it's still going to drop on PS5. True, that is true. You're still going to be able to play it on your console, but it's going to be very compelling when you look at you have your PS5 sitting there, and Sony's over there telling you, give me $70 to play that same game, or $50 or $60 to get that game, and then Xbox is just over here like, bro, you got the Game Pass, so I mean, you just got access to it. I can't tell you how many times this past, TBH can tell you, JG, I can't tell you how many times in the past 3 months, literally a game came out and we were just like, bro, it's on the Game Pass. Like, we were talking about, oh, I don't know if I want to buy that right now. We're just like, dog, it's on the Game Pass. Like, that's kind of like insane when you think about it. Yeah, I don't want to go as far as to say it is. Bethesda and Activision were the first two Infinity Stones. Depending on how this Riot deal plays out, if they see a boost in numbers, that could be their third Infinity Stone, and people don't realize that. And they don't
not saying that they're going to buy them.
Yeah, they don't even need to outright buy them. As long as they have that exclusive deal in place where you get all the characters on the Game Pass, that could attract a very large audience for the business. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out in the next 12 months.
All them Blizzard games coming, all them Activision, Call of Duty will be on.
Hold on, just for clarification too, because I feel like this entire conversation has been too positive. People say we're too negative. Now we're being too positive. They're going to be like, oh, we're Xbox shills.
We're shilling.
If you never listened to this podcast, we've been ragging on Xbox for like, especially me, for like during that Xbox One era, Xbox ain't got no games. And I always said I do that shit out of love. I want to see companies do better. They're finally doing better. So I'm going to give props when props are due. Remove yourself from a situation, your fucking feelings, and look at it from a business standpoint. What they're doing is very enticing.
I said this shit back in 2018, 2017 when they first announced this thing. I said, yo, this thing could be massive. And everybody said the same thing. There's no fucking good games on it. There's nothing good in here. This shit's going to be trash. It's going to be another L for Microsoft. I was like, but it takes time. Like, that's what I always said about Microsoft. I said, we all made fun of them back on the Xbox One. I was like, Phil stepped in and I was like, the thing that Phil understood was that it's going to take time to incubate, to catch up. And it's like, yeah, it's like, you're going to take time for you guys to get those games. Yeah, Sony's just been doing it for so long. That's why, like, they're just dropping all these like PlayStation exclusives, like every single year they're dropping 1 or 2 or 3 of them. So it's like, yeah, they're always going to have that like line. It was like, it's only a matter of time, whether it's like 2023. It seems going to be 2023 is the year where it's going to start, but probably from 2023 on, Xbox is going to be on the same level. They're going to be, as long as like, if everything plays out the way that I think they've been planning it, Xbox is going to start dropping, Starfield, Redfall, then Hellblade's going to be coming, then probably another Dishonored game is going to be coming, all those Bethesda games are going to be coming soon, all the additional Microsoft games that they've been incubating, all the things Obsidian's been quietly working on, like they're just going to start dropping, just so the same way people are hyped about like God of War and Horizon dropping this year and saying, well, PlayStation's dropping these games, yeah, they're dropping them, like that's it. But the thing me and Siggy were talking about was like, look at the state of play for PlayStation this year that they dropped for you guys at E3 this year, or whatever they call it, their state of play for this June, and compare it to this Xbox One. Like, take the complete bias out of it. PlayStation let y'all down astronomically. They not only did they were just, this is only third party, but nothing they showed, a majority of the games they showed there are not even exclusive to your box. Like, it's going to be on Xbox. And for all we know, it's very possible they might end up on the Game Pass too. They just said the time marketed, like just like Resident Evil 4 is going to be on the Xbox. All these things are going to be ending up on the multi-plats. And it's even worse now because now you're realizing, maybe that FOMO is starting to kick in where you're starting to realize, kind of like what I said before the PS5 came out, I didn't see the value of the PS5 because they didn't have enough games to make me want to buy it. And now on top of that, now you're telling me every single like of their mainline big boy exclusives are coming to PC. Surely just takes them a little bit of time, but they're going to show up.
Man,
it's not sounding compelling, man.
The other night I literally played like 4 games in the span of like 10 minutes. So when I booted up Ninja Turtles, I thought it was the xCloud. I thought that was exclusive to the Xbox Game Pass. No, it's on the PC Game Pass too.
Yep.
Yeah, so I ended up like, for those of you unaware, you can stream the games. You don't even need to download them. So like I think it was you, Ethos. I was like, oh, they got Banjo-Tooie. I just started streaming that shit, bro. Somebody started laughing to the fucking Discord. I was like, bro, it's nice. Trust me, it's definitely nice to be able to just stream games without even downloading them. So I think it was a W.
I will offer one thing before you move on to the major game. I will say this. Even though the Game Pass is freaking amazing, the one thing I would say about the games that I'm looking at right now is a lot of them are third parties, yes, but again, I think that it does get the value because it's Game Pass, and you also have to add in the fact that Bethesda, is now owned by Microsoft for it, even though it's not, official yet, but they're also owned by Microsoft. But I will say that even if Microsoft didn't buy Bethesda, I think that they still would have had all these games on the platform anyways, and a lot of them would have been on Game Pass. So I will only offer that as a potential nitpick, because it really is a nitpick. It doesn't really matter.
Because the counter to that is, if you're going to play the majority of these games, why would you get it on PlayStation? You can just get them for free off the Game Pass.
Exactly. So it really does make it irrelevant. It makes it irrelevant. But that's the only thing I want to offer is just a nitpick.
Yeah. That's the same thing about the Activision thing. Like, people were like, oh, look at that, it's still going to be multi-plat, so it's not really a W. It's like, no, you're insane. If you're telling me that I can get Call of Duty every year basically for free within my Game Pass pricing, right? And everybody plays Call of Duty every single year, and I don't have to shell out $70 or a ridiculous amount of money to play it on like PlayStation. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Xbox version every single time in a heartbeat. I'm not even gonna think twice about it. Yeah, so it's the same argument. Yeah, that price value is insane.
Game Pass, Bethesda, Xbox, Game Talk, whatever. Let's pivot the conversation away to the 50th game that was on the list that we briefly mentioned earlier, which is Bethesda's brand new RPG, Starfield. This is a space game. Kind of the premise of it is this is man's first kind of foray into space, early space exploration. We've been hearing a lot of things about the game for like the last 2 years, I feel like, but it's mostly just been a bunch of developers sitting around circle jerking each other about how great the game was going to be, or how expansive, how they reworked their engine and da. But it gets to a point where, like, even I was on Twitter, where's the gameplay? We get it, Todd Howard. You're coming off of Fallout 76. We ain't trying to hear none of that goddamn talking. Where's the gameplay? And during the showcase, they finally showed Starfield. We got to see a little bit of one of the planets, them interacting with some of the characters, some of the space traveling and stuff, as well as they confirmed the game will have like 1,000 planets in it. And like the story actually looked pretty interesting to me. But I want to hear y'all take on it. Ethos, how are we feeling about Starfield?
So when I first saw it, I gasmed. I was like, oh my God. This is like Star Citizen, and like a lot of people are saying No Man's Sky, but I'd actually say it reminds me of what Mass Effect 1 wanted to do at a bigger scale. Because Mass Effect 1 had very similar, like, you know, you could land on planets, you know, there was planets that you could, you know, go and you could explore them and stuff like that. It feels like a full like fruition of like that vision that they originally had for Mass Effect 1, and it seems like kind of like, you know, Bethesda's trying to fully realize it. So from a Mass Effect like kid at heart, obviously I'm excited for like any sort of like space RPG. My pessimism comes from the fact of, I won't even say Fallout 86, I won't even say that, I'll just say I haven't been the biggest fan of even like Fallout 4. I wasn't even the biggest fan of their last like single player RPG, which was Fallout 4. I was a fan of Skyrim, so I do get the whole idea, oh, it's just Skyrim in space, that sounds cool, but I am just a little bit pessimistic about the game not reaching the potential of what they're marketing it as, simply because Todd Howard has had a record of him embellishing on
delusions of grandeur.
Delusions of grandeur. I wouldn't say he straight up lies, but I think, you know, sometimes he leaves a lot to the imagination, and that usually causes people to think it's going to be the greatest thing ever, and it ends up not being that. So there were some things I saw in the trailer that were kind of like spooky for me, where I was like, okay, this definitely needed to be delayed. It makes perfect sense about why it needed to delay, because if this thing had come out, it definitely would have been another Cyberpunk. Like the frame rate definitely didn't look that stable, looked a little bit choppy here and there. And the gunplay, I'm not a big fan of the gunplay. I don't think the gunplay looked that good. I think it looked serviceable, but it was missing that kind of that jazz, you know what I mean? Like that little finesse of like what I feel like other games gunplay had. Like at least like with Cyberpunk, right? The gunplay about Cyberpunk was like the guns all had different styles and stuff like that, rarities, and it had like the hacking, right? So you always had like a bunch of cool stuff you could do. But from what they showed us so far, all I really saw was like there's like different weapon types. There's some weapon crafting, and I just shoot people. I like there's no what's the complementary system, you know, for the game, for the gunplay, right? Like with Mass Effect, it's like the biotic powers, it's the tech powers, right? The comboing, that sort of thing. Like, so you have a layer to the combat engine. There doesn't seem to be that from what I've seen for this Bethesda game yet. So I'm kind of a little concerned about that there might not be the depth that I want. But the character customization looked cool. I thought the perk thing, the background system, that looked cool. You know, having dialogue, hopefully it goes back to more of like the older type of like dialogue system and not like what Fallout 4 did. So more that like in-depth choices actually matter, that sort of thing. If they do that, I think I'll enjoy it. It's on Game Pass, so I'm really not going to complain, because at the end of the day, I am just going to be able to get this game day one and play it without paying an additional like $60. So for me, I think my expectations are pretty low. Like they're like solid. Like I know what the game is now. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not like, this is going to be the greatest game of like the last couple of years. I'm like, it's going to be one of the coolest games of all time. Like I'm not at that level yet. I'm more of I gotta wait and see. But at the end of the day, my expectations, I think, are solid. You know, I expect it to be a good game, and that's about to be it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle. I'm cautiously optimistic, which is good for me, because I wasn't even interested in this shit. I was so tired of hearing about this game, bro. I'm like, can y'all just show some damn gameplay? And what they showed, I was like, okay. I'm at a point where it's like, okay, you have my attention. I'm not completely sold, but I saw some things that I liked, and then I saw some things that I didn't like. What I did like is the world that they crafted. It seemed very interesting, the use of colors, the fact that you could switch between first and third person. I like that they're kind of using that more traditional Fallout style of dialogue. The same thing they did in the Outer Worlds. I mean, that's Obsidian, but where it's like the first person perspective and you're kind of picking the dialogue. They're going back to doing that. The story that they teased seemed rather interesting. Like I said, it's man's first foray into like space, and there's like some like artifacts out there that you got to get to help save the colony. I kind of want to see where that's going. From my understanding, it's not really going to be like alien based because it's humans' first foray into space. It's probably going to be dealing more with other humans and just kind of colonizing things. But I agree with you. My nitpicks of it, the gunplay looked really painfully average. Just the way the guns swayed, they moved, but also none of the shots felt like they had impact. Yeah, so I was like, they got to work on that sound design. And then the frame rate was a little choppy. I'm like, I don't know about that, man. Like, especially because we're like 6 months out, ain't we? That they got to clean that up, that optimization. And then that 1,000 planets kind of scared me. That excited some people, but I'm like,
that's scary.
I'm like, okay, how many of those planets are gonna have something interesting to do on them? Because I'd rather take like 10 well-crafted planets that have like side quests and all that, or like 5. Just I don't need all that extra shit, bro. I'm playing it more for like the story. But I did like the customization on the ship and stuff. That was pretty cool. I was actually upset because at the beginning of the showcase they showed that ugly ass ship. I'm like, man, what is this? And then I was like, oh, I see why they did it, because they wanted to showcase that you can customize it. But then I'm like, why he customizing that ugly ass shit? But I think more so I'm interested because of the story aspect. Like I said, I love space content, obviously, because I'm a big Mass Effect. Like, they're only limited by their imagination. So the story is what's going to suck me in. If they clean up the other stuff, it doesn't have to be super spectacular for me, because I didn't have high hopes for this game in the first place. But I am interested. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much just nailed it on the head with what I was most concerned about. Like that 1,000 planet stuff. I'm just like, there's no way there's going to be anything interesting, innovative, or utterly entertaining about 1,000 planets. Like that screamed No Man's Sky for me, because that was one of the things that they touted. And the game, the gunplay definitely looked very, very choppy. It was really like the rumors. I remember we were talking about on a previous podcast about the rumors from one of the people who worked on this game. It seemed like that stuff was pretty accurate with what he was saying. Like after we saw the gameplay, I mean, shout out to them for finally showing the gameplay. I felt like if at any point they needed to show anything, like it would have been then. So I'm glad that they definitely took the time at the very end of the Microsoft conference to talk about it. But I just think I really hope that it's not going to be so freaking ambitious that it just ruins the entire experience when it actually comes out. I'm hoping that, it seemed like they're going to have a lot of content, but it's just going to be, for me, is the content going to be ultimately worth it? Because like I'm not interested in getting materials. I'm not interested in going to different planets just to get materials, and if the gunplay isn't up to par, like if the actual shooting mechanics and stuff like that isn't up to par, then I don't think I'll be interested at all. But visually the game looked all right. I'm slightly interested. I know that they were talking about like the main worlds. I think they said like 4 main hubs or a world that you're going to be able to explore, and that they're super huge, bigger than any Fallout game or Elder Scrolls. So I thought that was cool for them to mention that stuff. So I mean, it's going to be interesting when it comes out, but I just wasn't overly impressed when I saw the gameplay. I was just happy that they finally had something to show, and we'll just see when the game actually comes out how it end up being. I just hope that people definitely limit your expectations, because I don't want this to be another Cyberpunk situation, because this is definitely one of the more hyped up games, and now they finally showed something. Now we just have to wait and then ultimately make your opinion when you play it.
It's funny because I feel like it has the potential to be a Cyberpunk
it definitely did before they delayed it. Definitely.
Like I said, like we're 6 months out, and it was still looking kind of choppy, like it wasn't ready to be shown. And then also I just remembered another nitpick I had too. The face animations. I don't know if y'all noticed, every character was like cockeyed. And I'm like,
that's that Bethesda engine showing.
Yeah. And here's the thing though, and they're gonna do it. Shout out to Kroby Cat. They're gonna pull up that footage of them. Oh, we reworked the engine of the last 20 years. So this crooked-eyed shit. So it's like, I'm not gonna lie. If they feel like it, I feel like they have a foundation here. But if they feel like it's not ready, it needs some time and more time in the oven, I say take your time, make the game great. We don't need another Cyberpunk situation. But I will also say, after they finally showed it to us, I see the potential in the game, but I'm still not 100%
I see why
sold.
Microsoft acquired them. That's what I was saying. I totally see why they threw them the bag at them and said, we want your studio. Because I'm pretty sure they saw an early look at this and they were like, yeah, this has the potential to be something major.
Like the space gameplay look cool, like the fact that you can hijack ships and actually be able to own them, like that stuff is cool. And I know they eat those. You were mentioning Star Citizen, like that was the stuff.
Maybe that'll burn them motherfuckers. Maybe it'll make them start getting their shit together and hurrying up. Goddamn, Bethesda's about to beat them to the damn buzzer. Goddamn,
they're not, bro.
Oh my god, I'm so tired of them though.
It is what it is though. So yeah, those are our thoughts on Starfield. That game comes out later this year, right?
No, next year.
Next year, it got delayed to 2023. Yeah.
Sometime next year.
Early 2023, I believe. So yeah, look out for Starfield. Hopefully they show more gameplay as we go along, so we can get a better feel for the game. Not too crazy though. Don't be like Ubisoft showing a different trailer every week.
Jesus.
Your games suck.
Actually, just hide your game. You don't need to show anything.
They do, honestly, bro. They do.
But don't even show a trailer until next year.
Far Cry 6. You remember that? Yeah, game died right away, bro. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I don't even it just breaks my heart. I don't even know what that game is anymore, man. I saw an article this morning talking about a potential remake for Assassin's Creed 1. I said, oh my god, no,
please don't
make a new game, Ubisoft, and not a game that has a bunch of shit on the map, bruh. Just make something original.
Like X-Defiant?
Oh my god, bro! I forgot about that game. Was ass, bro.
Another DOA, and the game didn't even officially come out yet. We were playing a beta, and it went DOA.
Call of Duty with Sam Fisher skins. Way to piss on his grave.
Oh my god.
We're gonna run through these because I don't feel like there's a lot of meat on the bone for this one. Capcom Showcase. They showed Street Fighter 6. We talked about that. Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak. The Capcom Fighting Game Collection, which just recently released. Exo Primal, which is like Jurassic World meets Anthem, and then they announced a Dragon's Dogma sequel. And then Resident Evil 4 remake, and then Resident Evil Village Gold, which is basically like all the content in one package. Anything speaking to y'all from the Capcom Showcase?
Dragon's Dogma, baby, we're back.
Everybody keeps talking about
that's the only game. Yep.
Dogma, yes sir. Resident Evil 4, of course, is cool. I'll definitely play it, but no, that Dragon Dogma was
Boo anything Resident Evil.
I mean, I'm gonna play the Resident Evil 4 remake. That's the one Resident Evil I like.
Yeah, I'll definitely play it.
I'm tired of this shit.
I like the second one.
I'm on Resident Evil.
It's not a day one cop, but I'll play it.
I need Onimusha. I'm tired of them, bro.
Did you know Onimusha had a platform brawler?
Yes.
Yeah, I recently found that out. Like I
played it.
Yeah, my new thing on YouTube is I've really been into retrospectives. Those are really popular in the algorithm. I just been watching I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I thought it looked pretty good. It looked decent.
It was very random. It was actually fun.
What if they did a remake of Onimusha, kind of like what they did with the Resident Evil series? Like what if they did that whole thing through all those? Would you be happy?
I've been saying that. Yes, I've been saying that. I'll take that, but stop just focusing on Resident Evil. Because that remaster that they did for the PC, that didn't move me. I need a full-on remake, but I would really love for them to just start the story over. I really wouldn't even want a remake, to be honest, but I wouldn't be upset if they did that. I just need for them to do something with Onimusha. Just stop acting like you don't own the IP. That or I'll take Power Stone too.
Okay.
Power Stone would also work.
Respect.
We actually got invited for early access for Exo Primal. I forgot to.
You try it?
Nah, I forgot to.
All right.
Danny sent me the link on Slack, and I forgot to sign up for it. I just didn't care, bro. I didn't care, bro. That shit ashy as fuck.
It looks kind of cool.
Right. It look alright, bro. It's just ashy. It it's running off a PSP emulator, bro. I don't know.
I will admit it's not the best looking, but it looks like it'll be a fun
co-op thing.
It's like a Game Pass game, and it's not on Game Pass.
Yeah,
so I'm not
exactly.
It's funny because Resident Evil is not, but Capcom probably should.
And then from the Square Enix showcase, the only things that were worth even mentioning was they announced finally the Final Fantasy VII remake Part 2 is called Rebirth. And they also announced a Crisis Core remaster. You guys care about these?
Yes. Absolutely. I was
actually confused. Like they gotta work on marketing this better. I was confused. I thought Rebirth was just more DLC, like that the DLC they released earlier with that girl. What's that
Yuffie.
shit? Yeah. I thought, but then like people were like, no, it's Part 2. I was like, oh, they should probably like put that in the title or something. It's confusing.
Part 2, yeah, like
Final Fantasy VII remake Rebirth. That's fucking confusing, bro.
I agree.
What do you think the final R is gonna be?
If this is Rebirth, then I don't
Revelation.
know. Yeah, something like that. They're going with the titles. I don't know.
Retribution.
What was it? Because
Revengeance.
The DLC is what, Retrograde, right?
Yeah, Retrograde. Yeah, we'll grow. Yeah.
That was insane trying to get that, or integrate. That's what it was. Integrate.
Yeah,
integrate.
Trying to get that shit installed on your PS5 and shit. Because
that was ridiculous trying to get your save back. So yeah,
harder than
so we'll see. But yeah, Crisis Core was also dope. So yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy fans, they eating good. I mean, you're gonna get Rebirth, and for the PC people, now you can actually you can get Integrate now.
Yes,
so that's cool for y'all. So you can play that, and I know the Ethos is excited. You want to play that on your Steam Deck?
I've been playing it on my Steam Deck.
You've been playing it? It's good. You like it?
Yeah, it's gas. I can't believe it.
Their frame rate was looking nice.
So it's running good.
Final Fantasy VII remake Part 2 Rebirth is slated for a winter release. And I think the best part about this news is according to
this year.
It says no. It says next.
I
think 2023.
Yeah.
Next winter. 2023. But I think the best piece is in the description box. It says that this remake will be a trilogy. So this is Part 2, and then there will be one more, and that makes me happy because if you remember, like last year, the producer was saying, "Oh man, this Final Fantasy remake it's selling real good. We should break it down into more parts." No, I thought I'm cool with the trilogy. Let's leave it at that. Oh my god, bro,
keep it moving.
It makes me happy.
Nah, they want to make it. They want to make it 4 parts, like the original 4 disc. And
the OG.
We're printing money. Wait a minute.
Like crazy.
This was only 4 because the disc was too damn small. It'd be 1 disc nowadays.
I watched the conference, and they were spamming the Steam Deck and that whole thing. It was like, hey, by the way, you can play this on the Steam Deck. Hey, by the way, if you didn't know, you can play this on the Steam Deck. It's really good on the Steam Deck. That's great. And they showed 16 too. So I mean, Final Fantasy is about to go crazy next year. Like, there's gonna be so much Final Fantasy content. It's actually gonna be.
I love that remake. It turned me into a Final Fantasy fan, so I'm with it.
I'm playing right now. I'm actually. I don't know. It took me so long, but yeah, I've been enjoying every second of it.
And Yuffie is freaking OP, bro. On Integrate.
I thought 15 was cool, but like all that driving around, it became a slog, and that's why I dropped it. I was like,
I think 16 gonna be gas. So I really
they made that shit open world. I feel like that.
I think 16 gonna be gas, and then that 7 remake, it gave you just enough exploration, but like it wasn't overwhelming. It was still pretty linear.
I'm telling you, that 16 is gonna be gas, bro. I'm telling you, it's basically gonna be DMC 5 mixed with Final Fantasy 7 remake. It's gonna be
because isn't it like the director of DMC making it? I think.
Yeah, they got the guy who did the combat direction for 5. He's on the project, and Yoshida, who was responsible for 14, he's on it. So like you literally have just bangers, like top tier Square Enix people on this project for 16. I think it's gonna be crazy. He said, I don't know if you saw it, he had like a boatload of interviews he did about 16. He said that the Icons, like the summons, right? They're actually like mini game boss battles that you're doing, and each of them are different. Like it's not like the same thing. So like one might be like a shooter, the other one might be like a racing type thing. Like it's gonna be like a different style of gameplay for each single fight, like a kaiju battle, like a big kaiju battle. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be gas. I feel it. It's gonna be really good, and it's not open world. That's another thing that's going to be good about it. So I'm excited. That's probably my favorite game next year. I'm looking forward to.
Are we in a Final Fantasy golden age?
It might be. Shouts to Yoshida, bro. Shout outs to him.
We never going to get the Final Fantasy. That's crazy.
No, never. Is this the final of the fantasies?
PC gaming show.
Wasn't that bad?
Bro, what they show?
I didn't watch it, but
exactly. Be quiet. Next. That's for all the people like, you got a PC game. Well, I don't feel like we get that anymore because most of our audience is converted to PC.
It's not a PC gamer.
Yeah, exactly.
We are not fucking PC shills, bro. That shit was trash.
PC gaming show sucks. I'm sorry. We went to the first one. We went to the original, but we were like, nah. Bro,
we were just happy to be there. By the second year, we realized that shit was trash.
Yeah, we were like, nah, this ain't good.
It's rumored that Sony is, well, not rumored, but Sony has reportedly registered a new PS5 model. So people are suspecting the PlayStation 5 Slim is coming, which is interesting because recently a fan of Sony made his own PlayStation 5 Slim, where basically he gutted out all the outsides and just put it inside of a damn like a metal rectangle. Do you guys feel like it's too soon? Did you get a chance to look at this this little fan made one?
Well, here's the thing.
Drop some PS5s. How about that to start before we start making slims?
Yes, exactly. Ethos, like that. This is a stretch if you don't have the original PS5s.
You can't even get PS5s. What are we making? How are you making these?
Sony is apparently claiming though that by the time that they start making these, then product, they'll be able to get more.
They really gonna make these in the middle of a recession? Be my guess. Be my guess.
That'd be crazy. So this shouldn't really excite anybody. I think that it's all cap of what they're saying. They're just projecting that they're going to be able to have the manufacturing power and the actual parts to be able to make another PS5. But I mean, people still don't have regular PS5s in their hands, so I don't know why anybody would be excited about reportedly a PS5 Slims.
Do you think the original PS5 right now, do you think it'd be worth a lot of money, like somewhere down the line, when they stop making them and the Slim becomes like, the norm? Like for rarity, like like it's hard to find. Like one of the interns at XPlay, he has the OG fat PS3. I was like, damn, I haven't seen one of those in a while. Like
those are rare.
That's what I'm saying. They're rare and they're worth money on eBay. I was like, I wonder if the 5 will be.
The reasoning behind why they are is because they're backwards emulation.
Oh yeah.
This isn't. That's why I was like, I don't think it matters unless they said the Slim only works with PS5 games. Then 100%. Then the big fat one would be worth more as time goes on. But if they make the Slim, because the 4 and 5 hardware wise aren't that different from each other, I doubt it. I doubt they're gonna make a Slim and say only PS5 games can play on this thing. That'd be just suicide.
Yeah, it would either be that, or if they were actually correct and they were able to make more PS5 Slims than the regular PS5, then that would be the only other possible reason. But I don't think people care that much to prop up the value of the original one.
Exactly.
If this shit is real, I'm gonna be pissed, man, because then I'm gonna want it, and I know it's gonna be hard to get. Like, why want this fat thing sitting, bro? This PS5 take up half my damn desk, bro. For anybody who don't got one, these PS5s is fat as shit, bro. They're obese.
Fat ass router, bro.
It is obese. Sure. Need to lose weight.
I said I have every single damn modern console right now, and I would say the PS5 is the biggest, ugliest looking out of all of them.
And you know the worst part? This shit don't got no games. Like,
it really don't matter. I'm not even joking. We cracked so many jokes over the years about 4K Netflix and 4K Spotify. I shit you not. That's all I use my PS5 for. I literally just watch Netflix, Disney
8K
Plus on it.
Netflix, boy.
That's all I've done. Like, I've actually played a lot of stuff on the Xbox, but I'm not even joking.
I had a conversation with GB the other day. I was like, yo, why are you on your phone? He's like, I'm trying to secure PS5. He's like, I've been trying for the longest to get one. I was like, man, listen, for what it's worth, I was like, you're gonna get it, and there's nothing to play. Like, and I was like, I'm not trying to be funny. I was like, it literally sits on my desk. And he's like, but he's like, they got Ratchet and Clank, and I'm like, yeah, don't get me wrong. I was like, a Ratchet and Clank, amazing, but I was like, it's a 15-hour game. I was like, you're gonna beat it in a couple sittings, and then literally I have not turned on my PS5 since. I was like, Returnal is he's like, yeah, I ain't playing that shit. I was like, yeah, it's a very niche game. Most people are not gonna play it. The only game the PS5 really has is Ratchet and Clank. He's like, yeah, but I still want it. I'm like, all right, bro. I was trying to explain. I was like, yo, you're literally stressing yourself out over nothing. It's just the fear of being left out.
It's like, it's just literally the FOMO's hitting in for a lot of PS5 people. I'm like, I've tried to tell them, I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, from a value position, I've been trying to tell people, I was like, the Xbox is way better, or just if you can't afford a PC because of the the pricing, just get an Xbox. It's worth it a lot more.
You want to hear some crazy shit?
It's way better, and it's easy accessible. You can get. Your
I'm
hands
probably,
on
and I can't stress this enough. Keep in mind, for those who've been around for the longest, I was clowning Xbox for years. I like, yo, it's gonna sound like this podcast is gonna make me sound like an Xbox drone because I had the epiphany. So yesterday I was in the office, and because I like, there's a lot of times when I'm not shooting videos on the XPlay set, I'll have like 2-3 hours in between videos because they're always shooting something and they have to fit you into a slot. So like I'll just be upstairs either typing a script or like I'll just be playing on, like, I have an Xbox in my I have an Xbox Series S in my on where I sit in my office space. And the Xbox Series S, I might like it more than the Xbox Series X. It just, the versatility, it's so lightweight, I can take it everywhere. It's got the Game Pass, and it was nice. So so that's what I was getting at. I was like, yo, so I said in my chat the other day, I was like, yo, I'll be having like mad breaks in between my shoots. I was like, I think I'm gonna try to start shooting from streaming from the studio, because they got gigabit internet there and they have ports all over the fucking building, bro. And they had like these little pods in the studio everywhere where like there's big screen TVs in there, and in the back they have jacks. So I literally just picked up my Xbox and put in there. It took me 5 minutes to set up. I logged into my Twitch, and which, by the way, here's another thing for people who want to be content creators. There's literally, I've learned from streaming from my Xbox the other day. I did a test stream. There is no excuse if you want to be a fucking, it's all in your head, bro, because the stream quality from that Xbox was actually really good.
It looked good when I watched it.
Yeah, and all I got to do is just move the camera closer, and all you got to do is, if you just need, I use my Logitech
How the
Brio.
webcam work? So you plug the Brio into
my old Logitech Brio, I pulled it out of the closet. You just plug it into the USB. It's literally just log into your Twitch account and go.
And it just immediately grabbed everything and just knew.
Yep.
And just
it immediately just plug it in first, then plug in your headset, and then I went live. And you can make your title from the Xbox and everything. And then when you go to your dashboard, it doesn't. That's when it shows like that green screen or whatever. It doesn't show your dashboard. It only shows the games. You can create a high quality stream straight from your damn Xbox and PlayStation. There's no damn excuse, bro.
Wow.
I was like, yeah. So I was like, I think I'm gonna start streaming from the studio, just playing games on the Game Pass when I got free time, because I'm trying to get back to streaming.
Just try a Game Pass game.
Yeah, just trying shit on stream, like fuck it, streams basically. You got the internet. I ain't got nothing else to do. I might as well fuck around, play some games. So yeah, we've seen the light. More Fallout news. Todd Howard did an interview where he revealed that after Starfield is Elder Scrolls, and then after Elder Scrolls, they will be working on the next Fallout. So I wanted to present the question of, Fallout, one of the big things always is the city that it picks. Do you guys have any ideas on where you would want to see the next Fallout game go? What city?
Fuck it. Just say the joke. Detroit. Just put it to Detroit.
No, I was going to say Cleveland, but go ahead.
Just bring it to Detroit.
I was actually going to say Cleveland. Wow. You really...
I know that, but I've just done that. I'm not saying you are. I just know people in the comments are going to do it. So I'm just bring it to Detroit.
Now you care about the comments.
Bring it to Detroit. Why not? No, I don't look at the comments. I just know that's the same corny ass joke they've been using for years. I'm just like, yeah, just bring it to fucking Detroit. Bring it. Why not?
You have any stake in this? What city you want to see it in, Jay?
St. Louis would be fire.
I guess.
St. Louis, I think.
Yeah, sure. I don't know, Alabama, Mississippi, somewhere. I don't fucking know. I don't play this shit.
Have they done one in?
Was no games? I forgot. Yeah.
You're right.
It's been so long. Was 3 in DC?
3 was in DC and 4 was in Boston.
That's Boston, and then what was New Vegas?
New Vegas was in Vegas.
Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, obviously. I don't know why I kept thinking that one was in California. It must be true.
The Outer Worlds was in space. I know that's Obsidian, but
Did you see that mod for the UK one, the London one?
Yeah, that shit actually looks fire. It's like a whole brand new game people are making.
Yeah, based off of Fallout.
It's a Fallout 4 mod. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I might have to try it.
I was impressed. Full voice acting, cutscenes and stuff. They made an original storyline, new gameplay.
Yeah. I was like, I might try this.
Look up if you want to see what we're talking about for people listening, go on YouTube and search Fallout London mod. You will be thoroughly impressed with what people are making, the fans.
You think Bethesda was making it? Yeah, that's pretty good.
It'll probably run better than Bethesda games.
You know it.
that's the thing right there.
Lollipop Chainsaw. It's supposed to be returning. Does anybody care?
DX was
just
into existence. Go ahead, JG. Tell
I am confused.
JG's having a crisis. He's like, what's going on here? I thought that game was trash, and then like a bunch of people are now like love it and say they love the game, so it's kind of crazy.
Dog, it has to be some cold shit going on because there's no way that people actually like this game.
I didn't know.
Like, wait, no way. I like the game. I like the game.
Oh,
like
JG,
Lollipop Chainsaw.
I like
by
it.
yourself, JG.
Hold on. Was it like the greatest game ever? It was like a solid 6 out of 10. It was a decent game.
I didn't know James Gunn directed it. That's what I was.
Interesting.
I didn't know that until
I didn't know that either.
I had no clue James Gunn was like part of the directing for it.
But I remember
it's so funny because I go to YouTube and I'll pull up DX's videos in the algorithm. He liked this game. I don't know.
Yeah, he loved it.
Like I said, this has to be some.
I'll definitely play it though. I'll definitely play it on my Steam Deck when it comes to PC. 100%. They said they're gonna work on it, a remaster or something, or remake it. I don't know. One of the two.
Back, baby.
Yeah, shout outs to the big titty cheerleader. Yes, sir.
A couple. Whatever. Let's see. A couple more stories before we wrap this one up. This is more just a warning, other than not really a discussion. But KOTOR 2 was recently ported to the Nintendo Switch. And news is broken recently that you cannot beat the game. And the reason being is because the Switch version has new bugs on it, exclusive to it, where you cannot even beat the game. And people were complaining in the forums, and apparently the developers confirmed it as a real thing, and they still shipped the fucking game. They still released it. So, I mean, if you want to get it on Switch, wait till that patch drops. Keep your eyes on it. But yeah, apparently this game doesn't affect all players, but it's affecting some. Be aware. Just get it on PC if you want to play it. I recently downloaded it on PC because I have a 4 terabyte
Steam
SSD.
Deck, baby. Another Steam Deck game.
And last but not least, in social justice warrior news, everybody's favorite, what is he? Is he a senator or is he part of the House of Representatives? I don't know.
Senator.
He's a senator. Senator Ted Cruz, everybody's favorite Texas senator. Apparently, he's a whale. If you don't know what a whale is,
of course he is.
Which is funny because he is fat. But anyways,
I didn't even read this thing, and you tell me that just like, of course, a fucking course. Doesn't surprise me.
If you don't know what a whale is, and by the way, this is a real term.
No, this article title's the picture is
oh my god, a whale is a term game developers and publishers use for people who are heavy spenders in video games. So free-to-play games have microtransactions in them. For those of you who don't know, where most people who spend money in free-to-play games, it's a small minority of them, and they're referred to as whales. The average consumer just plays the game for free, and they might buy a skin or two, they might not buy nothing at all, but it's usually whales that are keeping these free-to-play games alive. Well, it turns out Ted Cruz, the Texas senator, is a whale. You were getting a good laugh out of this article, Jay. What's can you break it down? What's going on here with Mr. Ted Cruz?
Jay. You know who's watching.
I don't know. You're right. So I was especially cracking up because the full context, because clips can easily be taken out of context. But he first said that he's not a hardcore gamer like Twitch streamers, and I don't play the massive multiplayer games. I don't play the MMOs. And then he said, I don't like it when you can buy in-game items and sort of make your character stronger or get advantages. And then immediately he said, I confess, now I'll play some games.
Wow. You're telling me Ted Cruz, the senator from Texas, is a hypocrite? I don't believe
I know, right? Who would have thought?
I'm shocked.
I'm super shocked.
You just didn't expect it to come from this angle.
Wow, I just never expected that senator to do that.
Freaking hilarious. So yeah, he said sometimes I'll buy games because it's more fun to suddenly your character has a lot of great stuff that will take you 6 months or a year to build up. So sometimes I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll spend $20 and buy like a treasure chest full of coins because then I can spend them to get cool things in the game. So this is just hilarious. Like you just immediately like in the next paragraph just contradicted yourself.
Yeah, for those people who don't understand why this is so funny, I think a good example would be the recently released Diablo Immortal. If you guys didn't see the news on that, that game, apparently, in order to get max level, you had to spend $100,000 in order to get to the max level. And the worst part is that's just to get the loot crates. There's no guarantee in getting the rare items and like coins and stuff like that. Those are what you refer to as whales. Those people that buy Activision is making a game like that because they know there are people out there with mommy and daddy's credit card spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on Diablo Immortal. And it turns out, plot twist, Ted Cruz is one of those whales. I'm not saying he plays that game, but he's playing some game, whether it's Candy Crush or something. So basically, if you're one of those people that likes to sit on internet forums like Reddit and say gaming is dead and EA killed it with microtransactions and Activision, well, just know that Ted Cruz is part of the problem. Ted Cruz is part of the fucking problem, man.
He's probably not the only one. There's a lot of politicians that play video games. They just don't publicly say it. I know it was crazy when AOC came out and said she played League of Legends. And she was talking about she was a silver 3 or something like that.
That's crazy. I thought that was just a funny little story, though. Nothing too crazy.
Keep politics out of my video games. Stop that.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. My bad.
Your G4.
You leftist leaning liberal.
Liberal snowflake.
Y'all got anything else y'all want to add to the show before we wrap this one up?
No, we had a lot on the table. So everybody listening, y'all got a lot to listen to.
Another long one. Ethos?
No, that's it. Thanks everybody for all the love and support. If you have a wish list for Samurai Zero, make sure you do it.
Fine, bro. Ethos.
Damn.
I was just asking if you had anything for the fucking notes. God damn.
That's what I did.
This man said his outro.
I was gonna get to that. All right, Ethos, you take the floor. What's your closing statement for Gaming Illuminati episode 129? Go.
In the words of Dr. Umar, I gotta repeat myself 3 times. Wishlist Samurai Zero on Steam. Wishlist Samurai Zero on Steam. And please, wishlist Samurai Zero on Steam. Not Katana Zero, Samurai Zero. Though Katana Zero is a great game too, so you should definitely play that one too. But yep, there you go.
And Ted Cruz, if Samurai Zero has microtransactions in it, come on.
You better not come and regulate come on through and become a whale in my game.
JG, what's your closing statement for episode 129? Go.
That's freaking hilarious. A shout out to everybody that continues to listen. I saw an interesting comment on Twitter, and someone said that our podcast alone gives them a lot of relatability. Plus, we're super knowledgeable on video games or whatever that we're talking about. So shout out to that person who made that Twitter comment. And shout out to all the people who you can relate to y'all. So there you go.
You're not wrong. Like I said, and kind of pertains to what we were talking about earlier, that little quote with Ted Cruz, and he was saying that he's basically alluding that all Twitch streamers are like hardcore gamers, and we were laughing because it's actually the farthest thing from the truth. I'm learning the older I get, gaming really is more of a social thing, and that's not bad. I don't want anybody thinking that that's bad, but I'm just when we say we're gamers, it means something completely different compared to some these younger people. And an example is right before we started recording this episode, I was in a streamer stream and they were playing Skyrim. And I was like, hey, I said in the chat, since you're playing Skyrim, I was like, are you looking forward to you like Bethesda games? I was like, are you looking forward to Starfield? And they were like, what's that? I literally left after that. I literally left. I said, and close. I was like, all right, we're out of here. So yeah, not everybody's necessarily a hardcore gamer, and that's okay. Yeah, so we appreciate you guys for listening. My closing statement is hit the like button if you're watching the video version. If you're not watching the video version and you're listening to the audio, come on over to youtube.com/GI updates. And hit the like button. If you're listening to the audio, rate the show 5 stars, whether it's Apple, Spotify. Open both apps, rate us 5 stars. That helps us move up the algorithm. And make sure to join our Discord if you want to game with us, game with other people in the community. Hilarious memes. They be talking about stocks and stuff in there. Lots of quality content. Join the Discord. The way you join the Discord is patreon.com/GI updates. It's the $10 tier. It's a one-time fee to keep all the weirdos and trolls out. That's why we have such a healthy community. If your subscription is up after the end of the month, we do not kick you out of the Discord. It's just a one-time thing, but we never complain if you do want to continue to be subscribed to our Patreon. So once again, join the Discord. The way you join, patreon.com/GI updates. And we will see you on the next episode of the Gaming Illuminati podcast. Peace.